opening week provided by Mitsubishi Motors, live from Infield Park in downtown Houston, Texas. Today, the defending National League champion Philadelphia Phillies come to town. They are visiting the Houston Astros. Good evening, everybody. Bill Brown and Jim Deshaies. The Astros try to break into the win column against a very tough team to beat right now, JD.
Yeah, I think most people would tell you the Phillies, the reigning National League champions, 2 years running, are the team to beat again in the National League this year. The Astros dropped those first three to the Giants. Now the back end of the rotation gets their turn. Bud, Norris, Felipe, Palanco go for the first two games of this series against the Phillies. Last year, Bud pitched well after joining the big club. 6-3, 4.53 ERA, was really good down the stretch in September. 3-0 with a 1.57 earned run average, including a very good start against this Philly team. And then Felipe Palanco will work tomorrow. That should be a lot of fun. The young Palanco against the veteran Jamie Moyer.
Charlie Manuel's Phillies bashed their way to 2 wins in the 3-game series in Washington. Ryan Howard was the top clutch hitter in baseball last year. It's a high-powered offense. The Astros and the Phillies meet next. Ford dealers and the 2010 F-150. By Jack in the Box. By the Progressive Insurance Group. And by Southwest Airlines. Roof is open. The Astros take the field here on a pleasant night in downtown Houston. The first of 3 this weekend between the Astros and the Phillies. And then the Astros go on a road trip next week to St. Louis and Chicago. Here's a look at Charlie Manuel's starting lineup for the Philadelphia Phillies. Jimmy Rollins leads off at shortstop. It's Placido Palanco at third base. Chase Utley is the second baseman. The cleanup man is power-hitting Ryan Howard. It's Jason Worth in right field. Raul Ibanez in left field. Shane Victorino is the center fielder batting seventh. Carlos Ruiz is the catcher for Jay Happ.
Bud Norris makes his first start of 2010. 2009 was a very good year for him at the big league level, 6-3 with a 4.53 ERA. That coming after earning Pacific Coast League Pitcher of the Year honors with the AAA club in Round Rock. And defensively tonight, Bud Norris will get help from these fine gentlemen in the outfield. Same old. Lee, Bourne, and Pence, left, center, and right. Defensively, Feliz, Manzella, Keppinger back in there at second base. Jeff Plum at first. J.R. Tolles back behind the plate to do the catching. Tommy Manzella missed a game after getting whacked in the hand by that pitch a couple of games ago, but he's ready to rock and roll.
The Phillies do present a challenge for any team. They scored well against Washington, 24 runs in their 3 games. They hit 327 in that series in winning 2 out of 3. The Astros, though, played very well against the Phillies last year, winning 6 and losing 2. So now for their first meeting of 2010, Charlie Manuel claps the hands, and the Phillies are ready to go with Rollins. Rollins with 5 hits and 11 at-bats, scored 4 times in that 3-game series against the Nationals. And we understand he's been telling people he wants to shoot for 50 stolen bases this year, in addition to all the other things he can do. Jimmy now 31 years old. But Norris runs one away for ball 1. Norris had a good start against the Phillies at the end of spring training on the 30th of March, giving up 2 runs in 5 innings, with no walks and 7 strikeouts. Time call. Michael Bourne pointing out to left center field. Let's see if something has dropped down onto the field.
There's a door open out there.
Okay.
That's the door right there.
That's where they come out of the Phillies bullpen and onto the field. Rollins inside, and it's 2 balls, no strikes to the speedster.
Yeah, stealing 50 bags, he's certainly capable of that. I guess the question is, how much running does Charlie Manuel want him doing with all that thunder behind him in the order? And how risky do you want to be on the bases?
Norris looks down at his finger. He's missed on the first 3 offerings.
It would be understandable if Bud were a little amped up here tonight, making his first start.
Yes, it would be understandable. And now Rollins gets the gift. His 5th walk of the year puts him aboard. He's 1 for 1 in steals so far this year. He was 31 for 39 last season. For his career, he's been successful 83% of the time,
which is really, really good. Didn't Bud have a little blister problem last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see him looking down at his hand already. I wonder if that's bugging him in the bullpen or not. I don't know.
His last start here against Toronto on Saturday, he gave up 7 runs in 2 1/3 innings. Placido Palanco had a big series to open the season, 7 for 14 in Washington, and those 6 runs batted in all came in the first game when he hit a grand slam. Palanco, a different sort of third baseman than Pedro Feliz, more of an on-base average, run-scoring type of third baseman, but he did drive in 72 last year.
This allows Charlie Manuel to slide Shane Victorino down towards the bottom of the batting order. He'll provide some speed. Very deep lineup the Phils have.
Yes, it is most impressive. And Palanco looks at the 6th straight ball from Bud Norris. Making a strike, so it's 1-1. Scoreboard at 2-0. Yeah. Chase Utley's on deck. Tim McClelland is the home plate umpire.
That's why that high strike got called. So it's always been the reputation of Tim. He's a big, tall guy. Calls the call with the high strike.
Well, the Phillies have some options here with Palanco. Handles the bat extremely well. And Rollins. Palanco hits a line drive to left. That's in front of Carlos Lee for a single. First and second, nobody out for the hard-hitting Phils.
Bud having a hard time finding the strike zone, just wanted to throw a good low strike, and he managed to do that, pumped one right over the heart of the plate. But when you've been struggling to throw strikes, hitters are going to sit fastball. That's what Palanco was doing in a solid line drive single. And he's into the soup already here.
None other than Chase Utley. Utley, a power-hitting second baseman who hit 5 home runs last year in the World Series to tie the Major League record set by Reggie Jackson. Comes up 5 for 12 in the season. Takes ball one.
Well, the Astros have been pretty adept at turning double plays here in the early going. That would work.
Yeah, they turned 7 against the Giants. Now it's 2-0, and J.R. Tolles will help Bud Norris, he hopes, figure out the answer to throwing more strikes here.
A lot of left-handed thunder in the Philly lineup. Rollins is a switch hitter, and then Utley and Howard from the left side. Ibanez left-handed. Victorino's a switch hitter. And Bud last year was very good against lefties at the big league level, allowing just a 200 average to southpaw hitters. Righties hit 323 against him. The real key is he's, especially against these real dangerous middle of the order type guys, has to find an off-speed pitch that he can throw in fastball counts. Right now, he's just trying to throw strikes.
That's a strike, and that makes it 2-1. Norris beat the Phillies last September 6th, 4-3 here, giving up 2 runs in 6 innings. Most starters would gladly accept that kind of performance against this lineup.
Oh, yeah. Let's make a deal. You give me 6 innings and 2 runs against this club. Never mind what's in the curtain. Well, I guess you'd be behind the curtain or in the box.
That one looked close, and it is a strike.
That's the other thing about Tim McClellan. He gives you a delayed strike call.
Patience is required with Big Tim. Not Tiny Tim. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Utley had 31 homers and drove in 93 runs last year. He took a lot of pitches last season. He was 3rd in the league in the percentage of pitches taken. He walked 88 times. Utley from UCLA, where he was a .342 hitter.
Oh, just a great ball player. Solid defensively, outstanding hitter. And a real leader by example type.
Lays off the pitch in the dirt. The count goes full now. Yeah, if Utley's uniform is not dirty by about the 4th inning, something's wrong. He really plays the game hard and very well. 1st round pick in 2000 and an all-star last year. He was drafted as a second baseman in 2000. Then he moved to 3rd in 2001 when Scott Rowland left the scene. He is a very rangy second sacker as he's returned to that position over the years. Big 3-2 pitch coming.
I was going to say dangerous pitch here.
And Utley whacks one to left field. Carlos Lee back toward the bullpen area, and he makes the catch. There's the tag at second base, and Rollins is able to sprint to 3rd. Good base running by Rollins to get back. 1 out and a long out.
And I said dangerous pitch prior to the pitch because when you're out there the way Bud is right now, you're just trying to find something. Your release point, you're a little bit out of sync. And so I'm sure he felt like he had to throw a fastball there, and Utley, fully aware of it, put a good swing on it. First inning sometimes is just about surviving.
And now it's Ryan Howard. Howard led the league in runs batted in with 141 last year. He's 6 for 15 with a couple of long balls and 6 runs driven in. He reached 200 homers, the fastest of anybody, 658 games. He was the top clutch hitter in the major leagues last year. Fouls that one away. There was an article about that in the Bill James Gold Mine. Nobody could come close to his numbers in what Bill James and his statistical crew in that book have termed clutch hitting, but it was pointed out in the article that guys on the Phillies got a chance to do more clutch hitting with their offense, and they were in more games than lesser teams were last year. He cranks this line drive for the right field corner to make it 1-0 Phillies. And Palanco heads for 3rd base. Sam Perlazo stops him on the RBI double by Howard. 7 runs batted in for Howard.
Yeah, that first series we were bemoaning the Astros' fate having to deal with the starting pitching of the San Francisco Giants with the Phillies in town. Their pitching's good, but you're mostly concerned about this lineup, and you're seeing evidence why. They can really swing the bats.
Jason Worth is another who chimes in. He's in the 5 spot, and he's 4 for 13. He's hacking a foul.
They got the jump on the hitter, so maybe he can start to settle in and start to work more of an approach where he's trying to work some corners. You fall behind all the time, especially early. You have a tendency to want to just throw the ball over the fat part of the plate.
Very good point. Phillies led the league in runs scored last year. They led in winning margin. They led in total bases. They led in homers. They outscored their opponents by 111.
So how does Bill James define clutch hitting? What's his criteria?
I breezed through the article, and it never did really nail it down, but it's important hits in close games. It didn't really define from the 7th inning on or anything like that, but meaningful hits in tight games. That pitch looked close. It's 2 balls and a strike. Raul Ibanez is on deck.
Slider just drifts a little bit low, and we'll keep an eye on it. But that clearly was a ball. But we'll see if McClellan stays true to form. Typically, Tim McClellan again, the high ball he'll give you, the low one not so much.
That cuts across the dish for a 2-ball, 2-strike count on Worth. Worth hit 36 homers and drove in 99 runs last year. Worth the first-round pick of the Orioles in '97. And it's 3-2 now with Ibanez on deck.
But working awfully hard here in the first. The Worth kind of flies beneath the radar. So much attention paid to Utley and Rollins and Howard. This guy's a pretty good player.
Pete McCannon, the bench coach, on your left of Charlie Manuel. Off the end of the bat and foul. Having to work this hard in the first inning, 21 pitches so far, might really take a toll. The Astros had a day off yesterday. They have a rested bullpen. And they have Wilton Lopez in that bullpen now with the injury to Sammy Hervasio, who was placed on the disabled list. Lopez to be considered the long man.
That was a pretty good pitch.
He did.
Worth, one of those long and strong guys, can reach out and handle that outside pitch. He's had him lunging at a couple. He may feel like he's got him set up to come in. Be able to tie him up with a good heater in on the hands.
He did exactly that. Popped it up. Keppinger out into right field. Hunter Pence is in for the catch. 2 outs.
Yeah, he did it. I don't think it was his intention to do it because JR was set up on the outside corner, but it turned out to be a good pitch.
Raul Ibanez is one of the few slow starting Phillies.
Yeah, he had him lunging, and JR set up away, but the ball drifted over the inside part of the plate, which I think was a good idea.
First 4 Phillies hitters in the lineup brought 400 averages or better into this game. Ibanez is 1 for 11. 1 RBI. He was torrid at the outset last year. Wound up with 34 homers, 93 runs batted in.
Really struggled in the second half, but was hurt. Groin strain and sports hernia. I'm not sure how a sports hernia is different than a regular hernia, but that's what he had.
That's a good question. Well, it didn't stop him from setting a career high in homers. He lashes this one to right center field. That'll drive in 2 more. 3-0 Phillies. And this might be a 3-base hit. Now he'll pull in with a 2-run double. Ibanez clapping his hands together. That's probably the best hit ball for him this season. He was 1 for 11, and he gets his first extra base hit now.
Well, I imagine Bill James might qualify that as a clutch hit. Because that's the kind of hit that can be a real difference maker. You got a pitcher on the ropes, but 2 outs, and if Bud were able to get Ibanez, he gets out of there with just a run allowed. He's feeling pretty good about things. And the book on Ibanez is to attack him with good, hard stuff. They say his bat speed is down a little bit. He swings a little long, but he's quick enough there to get to that 94-mile-an-hour heater.
Phillies who score runs in bunches. Shake it up. 3 runs, 3 hits so far. Ibanez at second. Shane Victorino will be batting. Brad Arnsberg, the pitching coach, went out. And it's a rough, crooked number first for Norris at 25 pitches so far. Victorino has 2 hits and 13 at-bats after a .292 season last year, driving in 62. He had 102 runs scored last year. As you look at the way this lineup is constructed, you talked about the move, J.D. Victorino down to the 7th spot, but it's just one of those admirable collections of run scorers and on-base guys and run producers all in the same lineup.
Yeah, I guess I could sit here and spend a bunch of time going through all the National League clubs, but I can't think of a National League lineup that's as deep as this one.
No. Charlie Manuel loves that hitting.
Scored 24 runs in their 3-game series with the Nationals.
That's a good-looking pitch, and it's 2 balls and a strike with Victorino looking at it. Now the Phillies come to play, and play they do. They've played more games than anybody the last couple of years. With the postseasons. Ground ball to first, Blum with the play. And the Phillies put up 3 in the first on 3 hits. They leave a man. Jay Happ is spotted with a 3-0 lead. Astros come up in the first against lefty Jay Happ. Brad Mills has made out his lineup card this way. The former Phillies coach goes with Michael Bourne in center field, Jeff Keppinger at second base. Hunter Pence is the right fielder. He's followed by cleanup man Carlos Lee in left field. Former Philly Pedro Feliz at third base. Jeff Blum at first. J.R. Tolles the catcher. Tommy Manzella at shortstop. Bud Norris the pitcher.
Jay Happ, 27-year-old left-hander, coming off an outstanding rookie season. Saw him go 12-4 with a .293 ERA. Made 23 starts, 3 complete games, a couple of shutouts in those 3 complete games. Not the baseball writers runner-up for the Rookie of the Year award. He's got all 4 of your basic pitches: fastball, curve, slider, change.
Michael Bourne looks at his first pitch, and it's strike one. Bourne 2 for 12 on RBI. The former Philly trying to lead things off for Houston after a .285 season. And he grounds to short. Jimmy Rollins, Ryan Howard.
Now let's take a peek at the Phillies defensively. It's Ibanez, the Gold Glover, Victorino in center. Jason Worth's got a good arm out in right. Left side has Palanco new to third base. J-Roll's got 3 Gold Gloves. Chase Utley solid. Ryan Howard, the big man down at first, and Carlos Ruiz does the catching.
Here on a Friday night at Minute Maid Park, it's Jeff Keppinger coming up. Big night coming tomorrow. Turn back the clock night. Keppinger, 256 last season, has 29 runs batted in. He looks at strike one. He has 3 hits and 7 at-bats. 2 of those hits, doubles.
We keep promoting Turn Back the Clock night. We're going to have a bunch of people late for church on Sunday morning. I don't know what we're talking about.
It's 1-1.
But I heard him say it on the game. It's turn back the clocks. It's ironic. We just sprung forward, but for some reason.
We're going to get that hour right back, by golly. Ruiz really sets up the low target. 2 balls and a strike. Known as a good defensive catcher.
Yeah, adequate in terms of throwing, but everything else, from what we hear, off the charts. The way he works with pitchers, calls the game, really invests himself in the mental side of it. He's not a bad offensive player either.
Keppinger got the start at shortstop Wednesday afternoon, going 1 for 4. Jeff had a big game Tuesday night. 2 doubles, 2 walks as the second baseman. He pokes that one foul. I mentioned Happ with that 12-4 record, a 2.93 ERA. Last season, just an excellent year for the 27-year-old from Spring Valley, Illinois. And now that the hitters have had more of a look at him, it'll be interesting to see what he does this year. Another foul ball. Certainly with the offensive support these Phillies starting pitchers get, that can lead to some very good wins and losses records.
Yeah, and I think that's what pitcher coach Rich Doobie will tell his pitchers, and they're certainly aware of it. But hey, if we just stay out of the big inning, we're going to score some runs for us. Be aggressive, throw strikes.
Keppinger to right. Worth gallops back. 2 outs.
That's not a real hard thrower. We'll see him 88 to 91 for the most part with his fastball, but he hides the ball well. And he's one of those lefties that can work up in the strike zone effectively. Rangy right fielder, Norris tracking it down. So 2 quick outs for Happ. He's thrown 9 pitches. Bud through what? Close to 30, right?
Yeah, sure did. Hunter Pence is hitless for the season after hitting .282 last year. He's 0 for 12. And there's strike one to Hunter. Carlos Lee on deck. Hunter went 2 for 3 against Jay Happ last season. Happ beat the Astros at Philadelphia last year. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. It was back in September of last year. Gave up homers to Lance Berkman and Kaz Matsui in the win.
Ooh, man, was it?
Yes, it was.
Short, quick stroke, just missed it.
It was really close to being a line drive somewhere. Now that one bounces. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Hunter's been working on retooling things at the plate. No problem with him working on things. A few hits might really put him at ease here coming out of the gate.
Yeah, I think there's a potential problem of working too much. I think with a guy like Hunter, if he gets into a little bit of a funk, maybe start to think too much. He's such a gifted athlete. He's so quick. You're tempted, if you're Sean Barry, to say, okay, we do all our work on our cage and we work on our mechanics, but once the game starts, let's try to clear our heads and just see the ball and react to it. Trust your quick hands.
Pretty close pitch. It goes for ball 3, and it's a full count to Hunter. Happ had one start for the Phillies in 07. He had 8 appearances for them in 08. Poked, and Ryan Howard makes a good play, but not in time. There's hit number 1 of 2010 for Hunter Pence, an infield grounder.
A cheapie, but when you're 0 for 2010, you'll take anything you can get, and maybe that'll be a start. He went out of the strike zone to hit that fastball, and Happ just a little late getting started. So he drifts towards the third base side. By the time he turns and starts his sprint to first base, he's got no chance.
It helps sometimes on a right-handed batter, J.D., hitting that outside pitch to get a little bit better break out of the box.
Yeah. Howard may have been better off leaving that for Utley.
Might have. Carlos Lee is 2 for 12, both those hits coming in the opener, his 4th straight opener for Houston. He takes ball 1. That was his 11th opening day start in his career when he got the 2 hits. 5 straight years of 100 runs batted in or more for El Caballo, and the wind's blowing out to left.
What a night. My goodness.
Isn't it, though? This has been a gorgeous weather all week. Springtime in Houston. It's ideal temperature right now, especially with that little breeze coming through Minute Maid Park. 6:05 start tomorrow. This one gets away from Ruiz, allowing Pence to take second. One wild pitch by Happ. So the Astros, who scored 6 runs in the 3 games against the Giants while hitting 196, hope that Lee can come through here. First time the Astros were swept in an opening series since 07. They have not had a lead in a game yet this year. And they're the only Major League winless team right now. And yet, it's interesting to see the reaction of some people. 3 balls and a strike. 3 games out of 162. If you would break it down for an NFL team, it would be about the equivalent of 1/4 of the first game. Lee takes ball 4. Now Pedro Feliz bats against his former teammates.
You're not asking people to be rational when it comes to sports.
You're right. That's something that shouldn't be paired with sports. Rational thinking.
Well, I think what happens too is, if you won your first game and then lost 3 or 4 in a row, it wouldn't be such a big deal. It's when you haven't got a win yet, and your whole body of work,
right.
People get worked up. But yeah,
sure.
27 Yankees probably had a 3-game losing streak at some point.
Feliz with 26 homers during those couple of years with the Phillies, drove in 140.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not comparing our 2010 Astros to the 27 Yankees. You get my drift.
Feliz with 3 hits, has 2 runs batted in. Tommy Lasorda once called upon the 27 Yankees when his AAA Albuquerque team had lost 6 in a row. And he chastised the team for hanging their heads after a game. He said, "You guys act like you just finished the season and you're out of it. You've lost 6 in a row." He said, "The 27 Yankees lost 6 in a row. They're strike 2 and it's 0-2. And they turned it around. They went on. They won the Pacific Coast League." And then he was walking through the Dodger offices that winter, and he was told by a member of the front office, "Interesting speech, Tommy, but that wasn't true about the 27 Yankees." He said, "They'll never."
Nobody's going to look it up. Be tougher in this day and age because they get on their computers and they check it out.
1-2. Well, don't be stopped by the facts sometimes. The motivational speech worked. There's the block by Ruiz, who had set up outside and then moved back to his left. Happ gets a strikeout. That ends the Astros first with no runs a hit. 2 men stranded. 3-0 Phillies.
And I'm sitting out here as we watch Bud Norris on the mound with his parents, Susie and David, and his sister back here, Stephanie. We got the cousin, we've got aunts, we've got uncles. How excited were you to come out here and watch Bud tonight?
Very excited. We're very proud of him.
You guys traveled in from San Francisco. What were his nerves like today?
We didn't see him today. Just the girls saw him this morning. We were at a hotel, and we didn't see him today. So, and that's the way he likes to get into his game zone and kind of just chill and be on his own. Doesn't want to have anybody around, and we understand that and respected that.
Stephanie, did you talk to him at all? Was he nervous?
We actually got to stay with him in his place, and we basically were told to leave. We tried to be like not heard, not seen. We didn't want to disturb his routine or any of that kind of stuff. So we pretty much spent the day with the parental units, and we let him deal with his business.
Big brother still calling the shots. Now, we've heard the story before. Bud has told us about how he got his name, but we want to hear it officially from Mom. You got the real story.
Yeah, we were all out at a Mexican restaurant in Lafayette, and my father-in-law ordered a Bud, his uncle ordered a Bud, his father ordered a Bud, and then he ordered a Bud. And I said, when the waitress came to me, he can't have a Bud. And she goes, oh my. And so my husband said, why not? He's just a Bud man. And he's been the Bud man ever since.
And he was 4
years old. 4.
All right, well, I'm going to let you guys enjoy the game. I know you are as focused as he is, so thanks for chatting with us.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Patty. 3-0 ball game. The count is 2-2 on Jay Happ with 1 out. He hits that one out of play. Ruiz went for the first pitch and hit a fly ball to right. They're out in the Budweiser patio enjoying a wonderful evening. Fireworks coming up after the game. A Friday night staple here. The tap goes foul as Happ forces Norris to throw another one. He's 36 pitches into this start.
And usually when you have that rough first inning, you're set up for a pretty easy second inning because you're down towards the bottom of the order. We'll see how it plays out. You got Ruiz in a hurry, but Happ's making him work a little bit.
Big slider struck him out. Number 1 for Norris. Sunday afternoon is a game to savor at 105. Roy Oswalt, Roy Halladay.
105 start.
305 finish.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's about 2:55 finish time.
Jimmy Rollins walked and came around to score. Nails this line drive into right field on a hanging slider. That's hit number 4.
Well, this would be a time if Rollins was thinking about trying to steal it back. 3-run cushion, 2 outs. Palanco has a little pop, but he's not a real slugger, so Rollins might be thinking about trying to get into scoring position here.
Palanco single to left field, a line drive over shortstop, his first time up. Norris comes back with a slider and gets it into the strike zone for strike 1 on Palanco. That Halladay-Oswalt matchup is one of those games fans really point for, scouts point for. Everybody who likes watching a good pitching matchup in baseball.
Well, you know, and there's all kinds of ways baseball is entertaining. Most people like to see some runs scored. But the one thing most people don't like a game that's played at a very sluggish pace, and with those 2 guys on the hill, that won't be the case.
Line to left field. He got up on top of that one. Quick bat of Palanco. He's 2 for 2 in this one. Rollins to second with 2 outs for Utley. Hitting coach Milt Thompson is coaching first in the absence of Davey Lopes. His brother passed away. And Milt seemed to be in admiration of that swing. That's a quick bat. Short stroke of Palanco.
Yeah, and it's been a number of times over the years, it seems to me like the guys who are smaller in stature are better high ball hitters. The big guys like to use the leverage to go down and get the low ball.
2 men on. Utley the batter. Utley worked the count full and hit a fly ball to left. Grand opening for the Astros' new Urban Youth Academy will be tomorrow at 11. at Sylvester Turner Park in North Houston. Special ceremonies involving a lot of dignitaries from this area at 11 o'clock tomorrow. Open that fine facility. The Astros in Major League Baseball contributed $600,000 to assist in building it. It's 2-0 to Utley now, with Howard on deck. Utley hit .332 in 07. He had 4 straight 100 RBI years until last year when he fell just short with 93. The top run producing second baseman around.
Top run producing second baseman of all time.
Yeah.
Think about it. Position where there haven't been a lot of sluggers over the years.
Yeah, he's 31. It'll be interesting to see what his career numbers wind up at. Goes foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Tomorrow night it's Felipe Paulino and Jamie Moyer. 6:05 start.
It'll be 97 minus. It'll be about a 17 to 18 mile an hour spread on the velocity of those two guys.
Turn back the speed gun night in addition to turn back the clock night. But both effective, and Moyer has been throwing very well this spring. Now 3 balls, 2 strikes. With 2 outs, the runners, Rollins and Palanco, will be taking off.
Bud having a hard time getting on top of that fastball. A lot of pitches drifting high and away to the left-handed hitters, and the slider's been pretty flat too. Going to have to find a solution here in fairly short order, or it's going to be a short night for him.
Runners going, it's foul. Phillies have Brad Lidge working his way back. He's on the disabled list, as well as lefty reliever J.C. Romero. So their bullpen is a little more vulnerable right now without those 2 mainstays. Ryan Madsen is their closer. Beautiful night out there. Cubs are getting some good pitching from Carlos Silva. They lead at Cincinnati 3-1, bottom of the 5th inning. Now a walk to Utley, loads the bases. Second walk for Norris, and it's Ryan Howard.
This is one of those situations where if we're in a visiting ballpark, you'd be hearing that Jaws theme music. This is one of those moments. Brad Mills looking for his first win as the skipper of the Astros, knows it. Hands in the back pocket, very concerned look on his face.
Howard is already with 8 grand slams up there. And he takes that one for ball 1 and already ranks 5th in Phillies history in home runs, 224. It's 2-0 to Howard. Howard walked 75 times last year, and he struck out 186 times.
Well, Bud needs to pull a rabbit out of his hat right here.
Rollins, Palanco, and Utley, the base runners.
Nice. Good quality big league pitch right there. A little backdoor slider on 2-0.
Howard and Prince Fielder tying for the Major League RBI lead last year. Close, but it's called ball 3 by Tim McClellan. Wilton Lopez warming up for Houston.
Pitch tracks. Liked it. Number 4 down there on the plate, on the knees. Again, that's the McClellan factor.
Howard skies one to center. Wow. Michael Bourne back. It did come down after all. No runs, 2 hits, 3 men left. 3-0 Phillies. Happ, he survived an infield hit and a walk in the first inning. Sundown is approaching as Jeff Blum steps in. Blummer with 2 hits and 9 at bats has a double in the early going. Initially, Brad Mills had planned to start Chris Johnson tonight against the lefty Happ, have Blum on the bench, and have Pedro Feliz at first base. He changed his mind. Didn't want Blum sitting 3 days in a row, he said. 1 ball, 1 strike, and Chris Johnson is expected to start tomorrow night, probably Feliz at first base against another lefty, Jamie Moyer. It's a 1 ball, 2 strike count. Jeff and his wife Corey did some karaoke last night at a charity affair for Shane Battier and his wife. I understand that was a great event, very enjoyable. Patty Smith was there.
Yeah, Brian Moeller also.
Yes. There we go.
Guys, like I said in the pregame show, that event last night was probably the most fun I think I have ever had at a fundraising event. It was just so much fun. Those guys did an awesome job.
And you were a judge?
I was a judge. Me and Dikembe Mutombo, Matt Schaub, and Jeff Stoltz, who's an actor, a friend of Shane's, flew in from Hollywood, and the 4 of us were judges, and we just had a great time.
Looks like they were enjoying it.
A little choreography going on there.
Yeah. I think they've been working on this. How did you rate the Blums?
I actually, the Blums, when it came my turn, because Matt Bullard was kind of the Ryan Seacrest, and they'd go 1 judge at a time, and it got to be my turn, and Jeff was getting kind of low scores, and he looked at me and he says, Patty, it's a long season. I know you need a lot of interviews. So I immediately jacked him up 3 more points and gave him a 7.
Strike 3 call. No such favors given Jeff by Tim McClellan. Strikeout number 2 for Happ.
He got Phillies to end the first. Now he gets Blum to start the second. Mixing his pitches well throughout this sequence, and then throws a good fastball down around the knees. That time Tim McClellan giving the pitcher the benefit of the doubt on that borderline low pitch.
J.R. Tolles is 1 for 8 with an RBI after a 188 season last year for the Astros. Ball 1 with Tommy Manzella on deck. Dodgers and Florida have a duel going. 0-0, bottom of the 6th at Florida. Kuroda for the Dodgers. 2 balls, no strikes.
Giants finally won that game with Atlanta 5-4. The last time I looked, they were in the 13th inning. I'm not sure where it ended up.
Billy Wagner, we heard, gave up a 2-run homer in the 9th as the Giants tied it. 2 balls and a strike.
To buy that young man a new glove. He's a lefty.
Teach him the other hand. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, speaking of Billy Wagner, he changed from right to left-handed when he was a very young man. Worked out pretty well for him.
He might have thrown 120 right-handed. We'll never know.
Popped up, and the infielder's over as Chase Utley settles in. 2 outs.
This day in Astros history is brought to you by the MD Anderson Cancer Center, making cancer history. Well, it's a big date in Houston history. April 9th, 1965, the 8th wonder of the world, the Harris County Dome Stadium, a.k.a. the Astrodome, opened its doors for the first indoor baseball game, exhibition game with the New York Yankees.
People dressed up for that.
That's Jimmy Wynn going down the line there?
Yeah, 24.
Yeah, President Johnson was here.
Quite an evening. Tommy Manzella with ball 1 is 1 for 6 this season. That one goes foul. Tommy sat out the game Wednesday after being hit by a pitch on the left wrist Tuesday night. He was fine to play, but Jeff Keppinger was the shortstop. Swings at that in the dirt. It's a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Well, the Yankees were there for that first exhibition game, and then the Phillies were there when the regular season opened. And the Phillies were here for the National League opener in this ballpark in 2000 after the Yankees played an exhibition game. 2 balls, 2 strikes. So history did repeat itself, and both stadiums were trend-setting ballparks. This one was in terms of being a retractable roof stadium, so we get to enjoy a night like this. Little roller might put Manzella on. No throw by Palanco. An infield hit. The Astros have had 2 of those.
Chance to get a little something going here at the bottom of the order, but more importantly, a chance to get the lineup to turn over for the next inning. But Norris handles the bat pretty well. He's capable.
And a chance for him to get on and get Michael Bourne to the plate. Bud's a 188 hitter, 3 for 16. Strike 1. Special time for a young 25-year-old with his parents. Other family members here. His grandfather Ken went to spring training with the Yankees and then was drafted in the military draft during World War II. Not the sort of draft most young men anticipate compared to the baseball draft. No balls, 2 strikes. Bud was born in Green Bay, California, went to Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo. And there they are. Susie and Dave, sisters there. And Happ gets strikeout number 3 to end the second inning. With no runs a hit and the man stranded, 3-0 Phillies. And look forward to tomorrow night, turn back the clock night. The Astros and Phillies will wear their 1965 uniforms as the Astros celebrate their 45th anniversary as the Astros. They started as the Colt 45s in '62. The game will also feature a free 1965 Astros replica jersey for the first 10,000 fans. UC Happ versus Norris tonight. Tomorrow night, special 1965 pricing on select concession items and tickets. And players will take off those uniforms they wear tomorrow night and autograph them, and they will be available for sale here at the ballpark. Jason Worth leads off the third. Takes the slider, and it's strike one to Worth, who hit a fly ball to right in the first inning.
Does it? Are you surprised to see that Bud and Jay Happ are so close in terms of pitches made?
Very.
Seems like Bud's worked an awful lot harder.
It certainly does. Yeah, that's one of those that sneaks up on you because you see that he's given up 5 hits and 3 runs, and Happ 2 hits, both infield and no runs. Yeah, that is 2-1 the count now. There's a slider that worked for him, and it's 2 balls, 2 strikes. The Astros have gone 26-13 since 04 against the Phillies.
And this one just like a cut fastball running across the plate.
And he runs that one in, but misses, and it's 3-2. That fastball you were talking about, JD, to the arm side, it's been getting away from him, as you pointed out.
Yeah, he's not able to get the sink on it. He's getting a decent run on it, but he's not able to command it.
If a pitcher can do that, he can run that fastball in that he's been trying to run in on Worth and throw it for a strike and then throw that slider away. That could be an effective 1-2 punch. Grounded up the middle and on through into left center for a hit for Worth.
It's that pitch right there that most guys have a problem with, trying to throw the fastball to the glove side across the plate. The right-handed pitcher away from a right-handed hitter.
Our Jack in the Box standings show you the team home run leaders last season in the majors. The Yankees led, the Phillies led the National League, and they tied with the Rangers for second in the majors. Then it was the Red Sox. Raul Ibanez hit a 2-run double to left center field. In the 3-run Philly first, they've totaled 6 hits now. Infield up the middle for the shortstop Manzella, and that leaves a big hole on the left side of the infield for Ibanez. Coming from the Seattle Mariners. He was a real mainstay over the years. 36th round pick in '92 for Seattle. He's from Manhattan, but went to college at Miami-Dade Community College. He had 3 years in Kansas City in between the 2 stints with Seattle. It's 2-0. Phillies came into this game leading the majors in on-base average at .434.
Now Worth can run a little bit too.
He really can. 3 balls, no strikes. He's somebody who has to be watched. He had 20 steals in 23 tries last year.
You won't be running here on 3-0. Because there's a good chance you're going to get 4-0. So why run when you can walk?
That's 3 walks, and Victorino will be coming up. 2 on, nobody out. Tolles and Norris meeting at the mound. Jamie Quirk is the new bullpen coach for the Astros, and the call has gone out, it appears, for somebody to get loose. There's the Norris family, and it's Wilton Lopez again. Sammy Hervasio, who went on the disabled list after the game Wednesday, and that's why Lopez was called up, says he thinks he'll be ready to return in 15 days. He needs to let things quiet down a little bit, the inflammation in the rotator cuff. He's getting treatment for that right now.
Well, unfortunate because he had a heck of a spring.
Yes, he did. Lopez really going at it there in the bullpen. Ruiz is on deck. Soft fly ball goes out of play. Good to have our old buddy Larry Anderson in the Phillies booth.
Yeah, L.A. hanging out over there. And Scott Fransky. There's Larry.
He's doing radio.
It's pretty good for a man in his early 80s, doesn't he?
Takes you back to the old Conehead days, JD. 1-2.
And we had Charlie Kerfeld here earlier in the week scouting for the Phillies. Unfortunately, we've lost Dave Smith. Julio Lopez also passing away from that club, that bullpen, all those crazy characters.
That was a zany crew in '86 in that bullpen. But, you know, the rest of the guys on the team were pretty ordinary guys, right? They weren't crazy like the bullpen crew. How did that wind up? Just osmosis, huh?
Yeah, well, you gotta have some flaky guys.
Yeah. Victorino stays alive, topping the slider to keep the count at 2 balls, 2 strikes. And that was some kind of a year.
Larry was kind of like Gallagher or Carrot Top, one of those comedians. He had all these props, pulling pranks on people in the airport and in the clubhouse.
Yeah.
Fake teeth.
I stopped by J.R.
It's one of those things that you do the same stuff over and over again, and for whatever reason, we laugh every time.
You think it would get tiresome?
Nah, you know, the flight attendant would bring the food. Larry pull out the fake cockroach, put it in the salad, throw a fit.
And he did it over and over, just like his one pitch, the slider.
Yeah,
he
right.
just threw it over and over and over.
You got to go to, you stay with it.
And it always worked for him. Popped up, but it'll be back and out of play.
25 years of professional ball as a player for Larry, 17 in the big leagues. And a brief stint as a pitching coach in the Phillies minor league system before moving into his role as a broadcaster.
He's a guy who truly brought excitement to the intentional walk.
Yeah, and don't ask him to throw to a base.
In one game, he came in and threw a wild pitch, and he was the winning pitcher.
Yeah. A wild pitch, covered home, got the out at home, ended the inning. He came in and hit and scored the game-winning run.
Swing and a miss, a good slider. Strikeout number 2. Earlier, Victorino fouled off that pitch, but Bud had some nice tilt on that one, JD.
Got on top of it a little better, had some depth. A lot of his sliders have just been moving east and west. You see this one, when it's down, has good downward movement. When it's up, it flattens out, easier to see and easier to hit.
Now Carlos Ruiz with 2 on and 1 out. He hit the first pitch in the air to right field earlier. Bud is really quick, as you pointed out, on pickoff plays. Got those quick feet. So the runners are well advised not to get too far away from the bases.
Big punch out of Victorino. He's got 8-9 due up here. Victorino not able to advance the runners. Double plays in order.
Phillies won the first official game in the Astrodome April 12, 1965. 2-0. One ball, 1 strike. Jamie Moyer, who starts tomorrow night for the Phillies, is the only active Major League player that was born by 1965. 73 pitches for Norris, just about 50-50 on balls and strikes. Base runners don't really like that much, do they? There's nobody going to the bag to take the throw, but they've got to go diving back in.
And Kepinger's is close enough where he can't just disregard him.
Two balls and a strike to Ruiz, who's from Panama. "71 pitches into the game. It's 2-2.
Now, even if Bud were able to right the ship here, it would be awfully difficult to see him going 5 innings to qualify for the win. I mean, obviously, we're down 3 runs, so that's not that vital at this stage, but he's thrown a lot of pitches under duress. When you're out there for long innings and you're fatigued a little bit, that's when you get a little bit worried about injury.
Fastball popped up and out of play. Astros starting pitchers have gone 6 innings in each of the first 3 games. Oswalt, Rodriguez, and Myers. Brad Mills had a nice reunion with a lot of the Phillies staffers. He was the first base coach when they were here to open this ballpark. Swing and a miss, and Ruiz is down on strikes. That's 2 in a row and 3 in the game. Well, you're right about it being improbable for him to go 5, but he's pitching for his life right now.
Again, made a quality pitch with the slider, able to keep it down.
He's had a lot of work from the stretch. Only 12 of his 77 pitches from the windup for Bud as he moves on to Happ. Struck him out first time. Greg Maddux, according to one story, was asked why he practiced so many pitches in the bullpen prior to a start from the stretch, and he explained that's where the most critical pitches are going to be made in the game. How did you work it on your windup?
He had an answer for everything, didn't he? That
Yeah,
guy?
he thought it through.
No wonder he won 300 games. The way I did is the way everybody kind of did it back then. You just start, play a little catch, get on the mound, start in your full windup, do the bulk of your work from the full windup, but you make sure you throw a few pitches from the stretch.
Two balls and a strike to Happ. Happ is listed at 6'6". Boy, Halladay also listed at 6'6". It's 3-1. St. Louis and Milwaukee are tied 1-1. They're in the middle of the 4th at Milwaukee. Brad Mills hoping that Norris can get this third out here in the 3rd inning, keep the deficit at 3-0. And they can assess his 81 pitches thrown so far and see how things look. Probably go pretty much batter by batter from that point on.
That may be it right there. Yeah. The fact that he wasn't able to find the strike zone with that offering to Happ tells you he's pretty much toast.
And that's going to do it. Wilton Lopez being brought into the game here with the bases loaded to face Jimmy Rollins. Bud Norris leaves trailing 3-0 with those 3 base runners belonging to him. Back in a moment. Brought to you by Verizon Wireless, bringing in Wilton Lopez. Just joining the Astros with the placement on the disabled list of Sammy Herbacio. Lopez was up last year, and he had a very good season in the minor leagues at Corpus Christi, 4-5, but 0-2 with the Astros, an 8.38 ERA.
He showed some pretty good stuff, though, from time to time. When he gets on top of his sinker, it can be a very effective pitch for him. Had a nice spring, 7 innings of work, 6 appearances, did not allow an earned run. Was sent out towards the end of spring training.
There's no margin for error now, facing Jimmy Rollins, who has walked and singled. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Round Rock just got started.
I'll throw the same one about 8 inches lower. See if you can get him to swing over the top of it.
Worth, Ibanez, and Happ on base. Lopez, 26 years old, from Nicaragua. Fly ball to right. And he has ridden in from the bullpen on a white horse and rescued the inning. No runs, 1 hit, 3 men left. 3-0 Philadelphia. Park in downtown Houston. Bill Brown and Jim DeShays with you. And tomorrow night, Jeff Bagwell will join us to start a series of Saturday night televised appearances with Baggy, and that'll be fun.
Saturday night home games. Jeff Bagwell will be in the booth with us. That should be fun.
Let's see if we can get some trivia going. It might revolve around number 5. Let's see what the question is. AT&T brings it to us. Who is the all-time home run leader from the state of Hawaii? That's not Jeff Bagwell. Mike Lum.
Yeah, I like Mike Lum.
All right, who else would you remember from Hawaii? Benny Agbayani.
Shane Victorino's the flying Hawaiian.
Yeah.
Sid Fernandez, but he didn't hit a lot of home runs. Steve McGarrett.
Steve McGarrett is the answer, yes. He hit 5-0, didn't he?
He did. Chin Ho had a lot of power.
2 balls, no strikes to the former Philly Michael Bourne, who was deemed to be the best base runner in the majors by Bill James and his Bill James gold mine last year. 2 balls and a strike. That's not just runs scored or stolen base percentage. It's things like going first to third on singles and going second to home on singles and scoring from first on doubles. So they tried to
outs made on the bases, or I guess in this instance, not being thrown out on the bases. Successful stretching, taking the extra base successfully.
Trying to get aboard now with the Astros down by 3, and he slashes that one back.
You know his agent's compiling all that.
All
that information. Take that into an arbitration hearing someday.
Sure. Keppinger and Pence to follow with the cotton candy there. And Bourne looks at ball 3. Happ has thrown 51 pitches. Bud Norris threw 82, 44 of them strikes. He went 2 2/3 innings, giving up 6 hits, 3 runs, walked 4, fanned 3. Bourne lines one to left. Good at bat for Michael for his 3rd hit of the season.
First time up, he hit the ball in that direction, but on the ground, a shortstop. This time, Happ elevates the pitch a little bit, and Michael gets on top of it and just lines it to left. Same approach. A little better pitch to handle, and he delivers.
Michael's on. Jeff Keppinger, the batter, hit a fly ball to right in the first. So the fact that Michael is aboard means Ryan Howard plays close to the bag, opening the right side of the infield. For Keppinger, he's good at hitting the ball that way, and he hits lefties extremely well. The Giants are 4-0 now after their 5-4 win in the 14th over the Braves.
Edgar Renteria hit a home run. Remember, he had a 5-hit game here the other day.
Yeah, he connected with a 2-run shot off Billy Wagner in the 9th to tie it. It's 1 ball, no strikes. The Astros were 4 for 21 with runners in scoring position in that series against the Giants. It's 2-0. Phillies play in very much a hitter's ballpark, Citizens Bank Park. Their pitching was ranked 6th in ERA in the National League last year. Bourne is leaning a little bit.
But just look at the rotation they'd run out there if they had hung on to Cliff Lee. Halladay, Lee, and Hamels. My goodness.
It had to be a strong thought for Ruben Amaro, the general manager, but according to stories, he felt that they had dealt too many prospects away to Toronto to get Halladay, and they wanted to get some prospects back. And Lee was going to turn free agent after this year if he didn't sign, so they made that deal with Seattle to get prospects. Smacked into right, and that's a hit in front of Worth. Line drive. The throw goes into second by Worth, and Michael Bourne beats it over there. So a nice line drive cut by Keppinger gives him his 4th hit of the year.
The Astros now with an opportunity to build something as they get the first 2 men aboard here. The middle of the order will come up, first and second. Nobody out. There's that off-field stroke Browning was talking about.
Now Hunter Pence. Ball 1 to Hunter, who reached on the infield hit. Just looking to see if the Astros have opened an inning with back-to-back hits this season. They did in the bottom of the 9th inning in the opener Monday night when Lee singled and Blum doubled. And they got 2 in that inning. This is the 2nd time they've done that, back-to-back hits to open an inning. And Lee's on deck. Popped up. Ryan Howard in. Infield fly, 1 out. Carlos Lee walked in the first inning. Pedro Feliz is on deck as Ruiz and Happ talk it over here. Lee, a .282 career hitter against Philadelphia. Los Caballitos would love to see #1 of the year from El Caballo, which would tie it if he can deliver here. He takes ball 1. Now the Phillies in 08 wound up with the World Series games included, of course, playing a total of 176 games. In 09, they played 177 games. That's 353 games they've played in the last 2 years.
They're well compensated for that overtime.
Yes, they are.
Got big playoff checks and shiny rings. It was well worth it.
1-1. That's a short off season 2 years in a row for them.
Charlie Manuel, remember before they got hot, 3 years ago or so, they were trying to run him out of town.
Yeah.
Now he could be mayor.
It's 2 balls, 1 strike. Cubs are leading 3-1, bottom of the 8th at Cincinnati. Dodgers just got 4 in the top of the 7th to lead Florida 4-1, bottom of the 7th inning now. Mets lead Washington 3-2 after 6. 2-2. Well, there have been plays like that one. A 2-1 pitch, swinging a foul ball.
And I think it's a little bit above the happy zone for a hitter when he elevates that fastball. And again, we talked about it at the outset. He's got a little bit of a sneaky delivery, so that fastball, even though it's not lighting up the radar gun, it gets on the hitter a little quicker than they anticipate. And that's when you end up with those foul balls straight back or those pop-ups, and you see the frustration on the face of the hitter. They thought they were on the pitch, just a little bit behind it.
And then Happ comes back and strikes out Lee. That's number 4. Well, this is a team searching offensively when something like that happens.
And that series against the Giants, they did not have many opportunities, but when they did, they just couldn't deliver the big hit. The middle of the order really struggling.
Once again, a big out. And now Feliz will try to lift his club with a 2-out hit. He struck out with 2 on to end the first. Strike 1 there to Pedro.
This is the Feliz reunion tour. The Giants come to town, his first club, and then the Phillies, his last club.
There is. He joined the Phillies as a free agent, signed a 2-year deal in 08. You saw the numbers earlier. Pedro's been in 37 playoff games in his career. He hit a World Series homer last year, another in the League Championship Series for the Phillies. Blum on deck. It's a 1-1 count. Rod Barajas has hit 2 home runs for the Mets tonight. Jeff Francoeur also going deep. That was Francoeur's first of the year. Out into center field, Victorino. No runs, 2 hits, 2 left after 3-0 Phillies.
You're having out here today?
Well, we won the Jerry Lewis Muscular Dystrophy Ultimate Fan Package. We've been here since 4 o'clock today, and we got to go down on the field during batting practice. It was fantastic. The players, Mr. Bourne, let me have a picture with him. Some of the other players let us take pictures. All of the staff of the Astros have been fantastic. And the most important and the best thing we got to do is meet you and get my picture autograph that I took of you 3 years ago. We just had a fantastic time.
You see why I picked them? They're kissing up to me here. And I know you guys have had a blast, but to me, Martha, the best part is just to see the smile on Walter's face all day long.
Exactly. He's wonderful, and we've had a great time today. We really enjoyed ourselves.
All right, well, we hope to see you back here as the ultimate fan and maybe even our progressive fan of the game next year as well. There you go, guys. Enjoy the game.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys.
Next, Patty, fly ball to Carlos Lee in left field right in front of the wall. And Palanco got underneath a 2-0 pitch from Lopez for out number 1. Palanco had singled to left twice. The breeze is aiding balls hit in the air out in that direction. Let's go back to that trivia question from AT&T and see about the Hawaiian home run leader. Mike Lum hit 90.
So Hawaii with the I''I, that's the official spelling. Right?
I didn't know that. We're learning something every night.
Mahalo.
Chase Utley looks at ball 1. He's 0 for 1 with a walk. Mike Lum, in the latter stages of his career, was one of the best pinch hitters around, too, and he's been a long-time hitting coach in the majors and minors. That's driven to right center field and goes a long way in that direction into the bullpen for a Chase Utley homer, number 1 of the year, to make it 4-0 Phillies.
Bud was struggling to find the strike zone tonight. Lopez found the zone. A spot where Utley could do some serious damage. First time up, he had a deep fly ball to left, just missed knocking one out of here, then drew a walk, and now this swing of the bat. Look at his swing as he kind of rocks back on that backside to generate a little power going forward. Quite a ball player.
Oh, he is. Ryan Howard comes up now. Phillies get their 4th long ball in as many games. Ball 1 to Howard, who had the RBI double in the first. He's 1 for 2. Utley cranked that one. Phillies have 4 runs on 7 hits.
Pretty changeup.
1-1, that was a well executed pitch.
Another one.
Look at that. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Goes back to back with the changeup, and both times effectively.
Howard, Rookie of the Year in the National League in 05.
Sinker away. Here's a little more home run trivia for you.
Okay.
Last year, there were 5 40-plus home run hitters in the major leagues. Can you name them?
Line drive to left. That one scoots to the wall, and Howard heads for second base. Dropped by Lee, drops it again, but no difference. It's a double either way for Howard, his 2nd of the night and number 3 of the year.
The big man going the other way.
Yeah.
And he does. He takes advantage of in their ballpark in Philadelphia, Citizens Bank. He hits a lot of home runs the other way. But it's just a great piece of hitting there. You see, keep the head in.
Double following a homer. Now it's Worth. Worth is 1 for 2.
Tremendous paper airplane working its way down towards the field. Somebody threw it from the upper deck. There it is. This is tremendous. Look at this thing. That's the best one I've seen in years.
It's no balls and 2 strikes.
Anyway, Pujols, Fielder, Howard, Mark Reynolds, Adrian Gonzalez. The irony, of course, all National Leaguers.
Good list. Do you have any reason for that?
For the whole National League thing? No, I really don't, because the American League, that's the offensive league. That's
right.
It's one of those things.
It defies analysis, JD.
It does. At least mine.
Rockies shut out San Diego 7-0 at Colorado. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Jorge De La Rosa got that win. He gave up 1 hit in 7 innings. And he beat Clayton Richard. Clint Barmas hit number 1. Rockies are 2-2.
So Chris Young is hurt again. Big right-hander for the Padres. Got a little tightness in his shoulder. Skip a start. What do we got there?
Time was called.
I didn't see Timmy give it to him.
Timmy moved with him, so he wasn't looking either. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Didn't put his hands up in the air, but
he probably voiced it.
He was moving out, so he wasn't going to call that pitch. How about the Joe West comment about the Red Sox and Yankees taking too long to play their game?
Well, I know it's MLB is a little concerned with the pace of play, and they've identified the Red Sox and the Yankees as being the prime culprits. I think Joe went a little over the top. I mean, I share his frustration, but wow. Then he said they were embarrassing, and I can't remember the quotes, but he got after him pretty good.
Strikeout for Lopez. Worth is out number 2. First strikeout for Lopez. Now Ibanez comes up. Well, somebody suggested if Joe would call more strikes, the games would move along.
Well, that's the quickest way to, the easiest way to move it along. And Joe would tell you, hey, I'm going to call what I believe is a strike. It's not my responsibility to move the game along. The players can play at a quicker pace, but tight zones mean deeper counts, means more offense, means longer games.
Ibanez has a 2-run double and a walk, and there's strike 1.
Yeah, our game is flying along. We're in the 4th inning already.
But if an umpire calls the high strike, so to speak, doesn't the game move along a lot faster?
Well, I think if any bigger zone, if the guys that call more strikes, the game tends to move along faster.
Even Larry Durker brought up an interesting point about the strike zone when Larry was with us the other night. 0-2, about stretching that zone a little bit high and low instead of calling off the corners and widening the plate.
Yeah, and that's what, I don't know, going back 2 or 3 years, 2-3 years ago, that was the point of emphasis, that they were going to start to call more high strikes because they didn't want to start to broaden the strike zone and force hitters to go way out to try to hit the ball, but they were going to try to expand the zone a little bit. And not really expand it, but be more true to the letter of the law.
A drive to right center. Hunter Pence is watching this one fly. That bangs off the bullpen wall. That'll score Howard. And it's 5-0 on the RBI double by Ibanez, who's driven in 3.
So the only guy who had been struggling out of their big boppers, it no longer is.
3 extra base hits in the inning. 5 runs on 9 hits for the hard-hitting Phils.
Double walk double for Ibanez.
That's 4 doubles for the Phillies tonight to go with a long ball among their 9 hits, 5 for extra bases. Victorino's 0 for 2. I wonder if the flying Hawaiian ever met the throwing Samoan.
I think that should be your mission to find out this weekend.
Okay. We'll go to work on that. 1-0. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count on the 29-year-old Shane Victorino. Here's the way it shakes out if you're getting caught up on these players for your fantasy league team.
Phillies have had, they left the bases loaded in the second and in the third, so they could have about 9 on the board fairly easily right about now.
They could.
Well, they've been swinging it.
1-2 to Victorino. Victorino was with the Dodgers when he began his career. San Diego took him in the Rule 5 draft, returned him to LA, and then Philadelphia took him in the Rule 5 draft. The Dodgers declined to take him back. 2 balls, 2 strikes. He's found quite a home for himself in Philadelphia. He's won 2 Gold Gloves.
So if he's been drafted and taken in the Rule 5 draft twice, that means he was left unprotected twice. So this is a pretty nice career he's put together.
He became an everyday player back in '06. Had 181 hits last year. Cincinnati just got 4 in the 8th to take a 5-3 lead over the Cubs. Drew Stubbs has hit his first home run in that game. In tight, and Victorino's worked the count full.
And Homer Bailey for Cincinnati tonight?
I think so. Here's a look at the busy scoreboard tonight. Boston shutting out Kansas City.
Yeah, Homer Bailey pitched for the Reds, 5 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs allowed.
Fly ball. Michael Bourne is backing in center, going a long way back, and what a play on the backhand side by Michael Bourne. Almost up on the base of Towles Hill. Bourne legs it out and robs Victorino. Only the Phillies to 2 runs on 3 hits and a man left thanks to that reaching play by Bourne. Nice lead. It's Blum, Tolles, and Manzella to come up in the bottom of the 4th inning against the lefty, who brings that breaker in for strike 1 on Jeff Blum. He was caught looking in the 2nd inning. Tampa Bay gave Javier Vasquez of the Yankees a rough ride tonight. He gave up 8 hits and 8 earned runs in 5 2/3 innings. And the Rays lead it 9-3 in the bottom of the 8th. Happ gets a strike there to make it 1-2. Happ gave up infield hits in the first and second innings. The first two men reached in the third, but then he got the next three, Pensley and Phillies. That one's hit to left field. And Ibanez takes care of out number one. Let's look at the Michael Bourne gem earlier in this inning.
Now, you never know in this game which run is going to beat you. If the Astros are able to rally and come back here, we'll remember this play. Michael Bourne, he had to go a long way on that one because he was shortened up a little bit, and for his efforts last year, 3-game tonight, he picked up his Gold Glove Award. And the good folks at Rawlings, one of perhaps many he will collect in his career. Let's hope.
He also got the Lou Brock Award. Brian Moeller's warming up. Bourne's the first Astros Gold Glove outfielder since Cesar Cedeno in the 70s.
And there's kind of an incumbency with those Gold Gloves. Seems like once you win one, you're kind of a favorite to win another one.
That's true. It's not exactly as automatic as Supreme Court judge, but they do tend to hang on to them. Two balls and a strike. Brad Ausmus was the last Astro to win a Gold Glove. That was in 2006. And the Lou Brock Award. He also brought home the trophy on that one. That goes to the National League stolen base leader. Bourne led the league with 61. A couple of very nice trophies for Michael tonight. Here's Moeller. Tolles pops it up. Ryan Howard comes over. 2 outs for Happ.
A reminder, tomorrow night is a turn back the clock night. We'll go back to 1965. Astros and the Phils get it on at 6:05. That means $1 hot dogs, courtesy of Classic Foods, $1 Coca-Cola Classics while supplies last, and $3.50 ticket specials. Teams will be wearing their replica unis from 1965. First 10,000 fans will take one of those home. That's courtesy of AT&T.
Slash. A line drive by Manzella. Manzella's 2 for 2. Now the pitcher's spot's coming up with Moeller working in the bullpen.
A little roller to third for an infield hit last time. And now an inside out swing. Solid line drive to right.
Chris Johnson has a bat. He comes out to the on-deck circle. He'll probably be in the starting lineup tomorrow night against Jamie Moyer. Johnson is 0 for 4 this season. CJ took the opportunity to drive around Houston on the off day yesterday, just getting to know his surroundings a little bit better.
He get stuck on the loop, couldn't get off?
No, he said he didn't have any particular problem, but it just takes a little acclimation time here. It's a big city.
Pascual Perez deal in Atlanta years ago. Remember, he got off and he got stuck on the loop in Atlanta, couldn't get off.
They had to scratch him from a start, right? He couldn't reach the ballpark. He was circling.
But the third time around, I said, that looks familiar.
What is this, LaGuardia Airport? He was circling for hours. So Johnson takes ball one. Oh, is that funny? Probably a pretty good idea to check things out before you go to the ballpark if you're unfamiliar with that travel.
Yeah, that was pre all this GPS, Garmin Nuvi and all that stuff.
That's true. That's a good point. We used to pull over and ask somebody for directions. That was not a fail-safe method of getting anywhere. 2 balls, no strikes, and then some of us won't ever write anything down, and we can't remember. That's a man thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's that whole man doesn't want to ask directions.
Okay. 3 balls and no strikes. Wilton Lopez went an inning and a third. Gave up 3 hits and 2 runs. He had no walks, 1 strikeout. Corey Sullivan came up with a big 2-run pinch triple for the Astros' first pinch hit of the year. That was in the 7th inning against the Giants on Wednesday afternoon. Felipe Paulino makes his first start of the year tomorrow night at 6:05 against the ageless one, Jamie Moyer. "3-1 to CJ. had a marvelous spring. Leading the Grapefruit League in homers and runs batted in.
Turn it loose, CJ. Right on the train tracks.
Ooh, he did.
Boy, good swing.
Yes, he did. 3-2 now. Nelson Cruz has hit his third long ball for Texas. Colby Lewis is pitching well for Texas, leading 5-1 after 6 over Seattle. Runner going, and it's fouled away. Lance Berkman continues to feel better after that left knee surgery, and he has mentioned he would like to return when the Astros are in St. Louis. They have an off day next Tuesday after playing on Monday. And Lance would love to be back by Wednesday if things work. Foul away. So Chris Johnson could be victimized by Lance's return to the roster. But in baseball, that's not anything that players count on. He'd love to be around. It might take another injury, some development that's a little unforeseen at this time. Pretty much a day-to-day existence right now for CJ. Jason Michaels alongside Lance on the bench. Manzella goes, and there's another foul ball. Round Rock opened in New Orleans last night and lost 2-1. Josh Banks did well as a starting pitcher, giving up 1 run in 6 innings. Roy Corcoran took the loss. Another foul ball, and Johnson hangs tough as the pinch hitter here for Lopez.
They're doing a nice job. He took that good aggressive 3-1 swing, and then when the count went full, he's had to be a little bit more patient, stay back a little bit longer. That's why he fouled off the previous fastballs, but staying back is what allowed him to handle that pretty good breaking pitch right there and foul that off as well.
And a strikeout for Happ ends the 4th. That's strikeout number 5 for Jay. No runs a hit, a man stranded through 4, 5-0 Phillies. Phillies leading here at Minute Maid Park on a Friday night. very pleasant evening for the fans, but the Phillies lead it 5-0 as Brian Moeller comes in. He'll be pitcher number 3, so that score on the scoreboard's not so pleasant for Astros fans. Moeller, the last Houston reliever to get into the action here in 2010. 2/3 of an inning, 1 hit, and no runs on Wednesday.
Well, the good news is there's a lot of baseball yet to be played. We're just in the top half of the 5th inning, so if the Astros bullpen can hold the Phillies at bay here, we may have a ball game after all.
Carlos Ruiz is 0 for 2, a fly ball to right and a strikeout. And a strike 1 for Bryant on the corner. Bud Norris, the starter, went 2 2/3, allowing 6 hits, 3 runs. Wilton Lopez went 1 1/3. Paulino starts tomorrow night. Oswalt on Sunday. Then the Astros are in St. Louis for the Cardinals home opener Monday. Strike. Apparently the Cardinals, according to one note, are going to move Chris Carpenter back to Sunday. So he would miss the Astros in that series, it would appear.
I'm all for that.
Okay. The hitters would sign on to that, I would think. No balls, 2 strikes.
Wainwright should be up Monday. We'll get him in the opening game of that series.
Well, managers have that choice of how to handle their 5th starter this time of year. Some stay with the mainstays in their regular rotation on 4 days rest. Some use the 5th starter. 1-2.
There goes Mrs. Bush.
Didn't see her earlier.
Yeah.
She usually keeps score when she's here. She was keeping the scorecard the other night when Patty Smith interviewed her. Popped up. Keppinger out. And he makes the catch in front of Hunter Pence. 1 out. Jay Happ will bat. Tim Wakefield is keeping Kansas City off balance. 3-0 Boston in the bottom of the 6th inning. J.D. Drew hit his first home run of the year. Happ struck out and he walked. The Astros have won 6 of their last 7 from the Phillies here at Minute Maid Park. Strike 1 to Happ. Phillies have had the 2nd most road wins in the majors since 2007. That's some good action there on the off-speed pitch from Moeller. No balls, 2 strikes. It's 1-2. Brian Moeller pitching at age 38 this year. Had a shot at the 5th starter job in spring training, won by Paulino. Hit sharply, and there's Keppinger to retire Happ. 2 outs. The reliever is able to do what he's done so far in these first 2 guys. It really sets a tone. If there is a possibility of a comeback in the offing tonight, usually that's centered around the reliever putting a stop on the club, which has compiled a 5-0 lead. That's a tall order in Major League Baseball, but without some kind of solid relief pitching, it is truly not possible.
Yeah, you got to just string some zeros. And I think the other thing too that he's doing well is he's getting outs, and he's also working quickly. Take a look at the pitch tracks here. And we're going to get all kinds of good information. You see the starting point, that pitch leaving his hand at 73 miles an hour, 67 when it gets to home plate. It broke 2 inches. And then you get the little arrow giving you a spin direction. And the greens are running about a 12.
Yeah. So if you were pitching and you came to the bench after the inning and somebody told you that ball left your hand at 73 and got it to 67 or got down to 67 by the time it arrived at home plate, would that be confusing to you?
No. Well, it would be, but you wouldn't try to make anything out of it. Yeah. So here's the changeup. And that, back in the day when we used to debate the the different guns. It was the ray gun and the jugs gun, and the ray gun was always like 3 miles or so slower than the jugs gun, and I think that was the difference in the science. One would get the reading out of the hand, and the other one would get the reading at home plate.
Yeah. Liner, right field corner. Rollins heads for extra bases. And he'll check in with a double. His third of the year already.
Yeah, I don't think that's information. That's kind of fun information to look at, but I don't think there's anything there that a team is going to analyze after the game and say, oh, look, your curveball is slowing down by 6 miles an hour by the time you get to home plate. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they are. I mean, things have changed a little bit in this game. I can't imagine anybody being able to do anything along those lines with that information.
Right.
It's just kind of fun to look at.
Rollins is aboard. That's hit number 10 for the Phillies. They came into this game hitting .327 as a team. Palanco has a couple of their hits tonight. Good ball player here. Ball one to Palanco. Been a good second baseman, good third baseman. .306 lifetime batting average for Palanco.
Phillies have now been in double digits in the hit category in each of their ball games so far this year.
Last year with Detroit, Palanco had a couple of long errorless streaks on his second Gold Glove.
Playing third base now with the Phillies. He's primarily been a second baseman, but I remember him at third with the Cardinals.
Yeah.
A few years back.
He played some third. Was he a guy who batted ninth for La Russa?
I don't know if he was around when Tony was doing that.
Maybe not. Did you know the Pirates manager's doing that this year? Hitting the pitcher eighth?
Well, I know a few managers tried it last year.
Liner, right field corner. That'll get Rollins home to make it 6-0. Palanco churning to second. San Perlazo stops him there. Back-to-back doubles. Polanco's third double, and he gets his third hit of the night to make it 6-0. Our Coors Light Cold Hard Blast came in the fourth inning from Chase Utley with one out into the Astros bullpen. That's the only long ball the Phillies have hit. They have 6 doubles in the game. Utley also has a walk tonight.
That base runners all night long. It's like one of those slow pitch softball games. I mean, it's unbelievable how much traffic they've had out there.
Kind of remind you of that circular intersection up in Waco, Texas, maybe, if you've ever been there. Your head's on a swivel watching for the next bit of traffic. Liner to left center field. That'll make it 7-0. A long RBI single for Utley. That gives him 2 runs batted in tonight and 4 for the season.
And Brad Mills in a tough place right now. He's got Felipe Paulino scheduled to pitch tomorrow. Paulino had been bothered by back spasms towards the end of spring training. Says he's healthy, but it's always in the back of a manager's mind. You know, when you get into a game like this, you don't want to blow out the bullpen because you may need early reinforcements tomorrow night because you're not sure what you're going to get out of Paulino. And that's where a guy like Brian Moeller comes in handy. He's a guy, if you have to leave somebody out there to take a drubbing, you know, mentally he's tough enough where he can handle it and won't go curl up in the fetal position and not be effective for 3 weeks because of it.
Howard has a pair of doubles. He has scored twice and driven in a run. That looked like a pretty good pitch. Not good enough for a strike for Tim McClellan, and it's 2-0. White Sox lead Minnesota 3-2 in the top of the 7th inning at Chicago.
.78-mile-an-hour. That's his changeup. There's a fastball.
2-1 to big Ryan Howard, 30 years old.
And what was he, 26 when he came to the big leagues? 25?
Not sure.
Because I remember.
Good play by Blum, got him, yes. 2 runs on 3 hits and a man left, middle of the 5th inning, 7-0 Phillies. Bourne is 1 for 2. He just took ball 1. St. Louis and Milwaukee are playing in Milwaukee tonight. Kyle Loesch and Dave Bush, the starters. Milwaukee 4, St. Louis 3 in the 6th. Utley with a good play. Rolls around and throws out Bourne.
Well, another good swing by Michael here. He tries to yank one through the hole, but Utley able to close that hole and then quickly to his feet. The nail Michael Bourne. We're in the home stretch for the 2010 census. It's not too late. Fill out and mail back your census form. Do it now. It just takes minutes. It says 10 minutes. It took me less than that.
Well, you're smarter
but
than
I'm
the
advanced.
average bird,
I'm advanced.
You're way ahead of the curve, pal. In fact, would you say that that is the fastest census form you have ever filled out?
I would, yeah, I think so, Brandon.
Fastest you have ever filled out a census form would be a better way to say that. Forms aren't fast. Line drive to left field. That loops in, and it's extra bases for Keppinger. Keppinger into second with a 1-out double. Now he's making a bid for some playing time this season with another multi-hit game.
Yeah, he had the 2 doubles. Well, actually, the home run that was ruled a double. One game against the Giants, the Zito game. And with the Astros really struggling to score runs right now, if I'm Brad Mills, I think I'm inclined to start Keppinger anytime I face a lefty here in the early going. When you're not scoring runs, if you find a guy who's swinging it halfway decently, you might as well run him out there.
Hunter Pence will try to get him home. He's 1 for 2. Over to shortstop, Rollins. 2 down. Keppinger got a good jump on it and moved over. Carlos Lee is 0 for 1 with a walk. Mets are blowing out Washington now, 8-2 in the bottom of the 8th inning. They have a pair of homers from Barajas and 2 more from Francoeur.
What'd they do? Change the dimensions there at Citi Field? I thought you couldn't hit home runs there.
That's a good point.
What's going on?
Right hit one to right field. There's ball one. That was very difficult to hit him there last year. Wright had all of what, about 10 home runs all of last season. It's 2 balls, no strikes. Jay Happ shooting for win number 1 for him. It was Roy Halladay beating Washington in the opener. Then Cole Hamels won the second game. Kyle Kendrick pitched yesterday. A little chop to shortstop. Rollins is in. And he gets lead. No runs, a hit, and a man left through 5, 7-0 Phils. Play in center field by Michael Bourne on a ball hit deep by Shane Victorino, and Bourne extends and stabs it. The Coors Light freeze can brought to you by the Frost Brewed Coors Light. That is a beautiful catch. Very difficult to reach up like that to the backhand side, running full tilt with your back to the plate.
Yeah, he's just a marvelous athlete.
Jason Worth begins the 6th inning. He's 1 for 3. He's out in front of that one on strike 1.
So, that's the kind of play that even if the home team loses, you're driving home in the car after the game with Junior, you can say, hey, but how about that play Michael Bourne made?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dad, that was a great play.
Well, you're right. If you're really into baseball, you can take something away from every game. And, of course, we all remember the first game we ever had as a spectator in the big leagues, walking in, seeing that green grass, just the whole ambiance of the ballpark. Probably didn't remember anything else about it. You might have been 6 or 8 or 10 years old, but it was just the sight of a major league park.
Yeah, a big expanse of green. And then I got lost. I remember getting lost at Jerry Park.
Really?
Getting real nervous, yeah. Kind of went up the wrong aisle.
Did they have to announce your name over the PA?
No, I was in mid-panic when I found my dad.
Kind of a frightening experience. He's surrounded by all those Expos fans.
You not want to have to give that ball up.
And you probably couldn't even speak French back in those days.
Yeah, unlike my perfect French that I throw around now.
Yeah. He could put all of us to shame. Moeller knocks it down, stays with it, and throws, but not in time. Worth will reach.
An off-the-shoe single.
13 hits for the Phillies.
You talked earlier about Worth's speed when he was on first base. Brian doesn't really lollygag. He gets on this one in pretty good shape. Those hitters, boy, they sniff a hit. They seem to find that extra gear going down the line.
Worth is aboard. A couple of hits for him. 3 for Palanco tonight. Ibanez has 2 hits, both doubles, 3 runs batted in, and a walk. So Phillies have 6 players with 2 hits or more already tonight. Victorino's on deck. Yeah, but it might be, if you're a youngster, a catch like that one by Bourne that you would take home no matter what the score of the game would be, or just getting to see somebody like a Ryan Howard, big strapping home run hitter, just that whole experience, not necessarily the game itself or who's a winning pitcher.
Yeah, that's what used to draw us to the ballpark, the star power. We used to see who was coming to town, and I know we made it. Aaron and the Braves came to Montreal. We wanted to go up. A receiver was pitching for the Mets. I wanted to go check that one out.
Oh yeah. Receiver made his debut for the Reds in Montreal after that trade for the Mets, and he pitched a beauty of a game in his first game with Cincinnati. But we used to go to Kansas City, see the old Kansas City A's.
Yeah.
There'd be somebody like Wayne Causey, who was leading the league in hitting in May, and everybody was all excited about that. There's a shot on the ground. Good play by Manzella. Double play by Manzella.
He can play the position, folks. He can really pick it. It's not an easy chance. This ball had a lot of steam on it. It kind of comes up on him, but quick hands. And makes the right call to take it himself and finish it off.
He regained his footing.
Almost face planted.
That is excellent work by the young shortstop. That's the 8th double play for the Astros. Victorino looks at ball 1.
Watch this ball jump up on him, and just quick hands to pick it and then turn it. Wayne Causey, I'm not familiar with Wayne Causey, Brownie.
Left-handed hitting infielder, and then another year was Manny Jimenez, who was leading the league in hitting. Just crazy things that don't mean anything to anybody, but it was May, and it was nice to be watching a guy who was leading the league in hitting. Both those guys did a fast fade after that. The Kansas City A's had a pattern of trading their best players to the Yankees or selling them. People like Roger Maris and Bud Daly always wound up in pinstripes. In the old Municipal Stadium. It's a hot line drive caught by Keppinger. No runs, a hit. Nobody left in the middle of the 6th inning. 7-0 Philadelphia. At Minute Maid Park and hoping the Astros could get something going here in the bottom of the 6th against J. Happ. Pedro Feliz is struck out and fly to center. Happ gets strike one. He is at 95 pitches for this game. David Herndon has been throwing in the bullpen for the Phillies. Rookie right-hander.
Have you gotten to the bottom of J. Happ? His name, because it's J.A. Happ.
I've heard that he does not like to be called J.A.
Right, but he's J.
He's J. So we've erased the A from his name. I don't know what the letters stand for. 2 balls and a strike. Is there any listing of that there?
No, they've just got him as J.A.
Okay. James Anthony. Off the glove. Well, no, off the bare hand, it appears, of Palanco. Apparently that ball took an erratic hop for him. He's looking down at his finger. And Feliz is on. That hurts, especially if it hits right off the end of a finger. It jams it.
Yeah, I don't know if it hit the cutout where the grass meets the dirt there. Maybe it took a little bit of a funky hop on him. Maybe just had some spin on it, but he got the hand in the way of the glove.
Thumb sucking is allowed after a play like that. That's the first error of the night. And it's Blum batting.
Happ up around 100 pitches. This will be his last inning if he gets through it. There's action in the Philly bullpen.
Now, early in the season, pitchers are monitored very, very carefully because the pitch count has been built very carefully throughout spring training to arrive at this point of maybe around 100 pitches for that first start. There's quite often some extra adrenaline going for a pitcher making his first start. And with that risk of injury you talked about earlier being a factor, those are the numbers on Happ, and it wouldn't be too surprising to see him out of this game pretty quickly. He's due up second in the 7th inning.
Well, there's a breakdown on Happ tonight. 96 pitches, 60% of them fastballs.
That one goes foul, 2-1. Last year, he threw 69% fastballs. And that was the 5th most in the National League. They don't care a whole lot about that, though. They got their souvenir.
It's interesting because he's not a real hard thrower.
No. Yeah, it's kind of curious that he would throw that pitch that often.
But I think, most guys are within, I think there's probably not a big difference between the 5th most and the 50th most. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If he's 69%, the 50th most is 63%. Or something like that. Just a guess.
Okay. Blum takes a walk. Now first and second, nobody out. That's the second walk. We go to Patty Smith. Patty?
Well, guys, here's something fun and interesting. Dog Day presented by HEB is this Sunday against the Phillies at 1:05. There'll be a special seating section for you and your dog and activities that start at 9:45 a.m. You can also check out our Price Matters Days presented by HEB every Sunday and get a View Deck 2 ticket, hot dog, chips, and a soda, all for just $10. Visit Astros.com for tickets, guys.
I was kind of thinking this might be Dog Day.
I wasn't going to say that.
Okay.
The dog days of April.
Happ leaves. It's Phillies 7, Astros nothing. Back in a moment.
Out here in the bottom half of the sixth. It's opening day for your lawn. Visit your local Lowe's on Saturday, April 10th. That's tomorrow. It's Scott's National Lawn Care Day. You'll learn tips from lawn care pros. Great way to spend a Saturday morning. Get a cup of coffee, head on over, come back home, do a little yard work, get the feet up for a while, and turn on the TV and catch a ball game.
Yeah. Chris Sampson's warming up. J.R. Tolles is the batter. David Herndon is in the game in relief of J. Happ. Tolles is 0 for 2. He's popped up twice. Herndon, a Rule 5 draft choice by the Phillies, throws ball 1. He was taken from the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim in the Rule 5 draft last December. He pitched at Double-A Arkansas for the Angels organization last year with 11 saves and a 3.03 ERA. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. He's made that jump from Double-A to the big leagues, and because he was taken in that Rule 5 draft, the Phillies have to keep him on the Major League roster all season or offer him back to the Angels. He's listed at 6'5" and 230, 24 years old, from Panama City, Florida.
A lot of times the club will take a Rule 5 guy and just kind of let him hang out in the bullpen much of the year, not use him much, with an eye on hanging on to him for the future. But when you're in the Phillies position, when you fully expect to contend, you got to find a way to use this guy, right? You're just not going to have him hanging out in the bullpen all year. You can't afford to have a wasted position on your roster.
True. It's 3 balls and strike. Well, what could happen is, if it doesn't work out with him pitching well for the Phillies, they could at that point offer him back to the Angels organization and get someone else to replace him. They have 2 Major League relievers on the disabled list right now, Brad Lidge and J.C. Romero. Three balls, 2 strikes. Well, Lidge, we understand, is throwing again in Florida. Romero probably is fairly close to returning to the Phils. That would give them a second lefty reliever if they keep Antonio Bastardo in the bullpen. Lidge still doesn't have his velocity back up to normal at this point. He had surgery on both a knee and an elbow in the offseason.
Yeah, and Brad, I'm sure, as are the Phillies, very anxious to get him back, because this should be a good year for him. He's in that pattern, good year, bad year, and last year he really scuffled, so he'll probably light it up this year.
Grounded to Palanco. He goes to second. Utley to first. What a turn by Utley. Now, that's an amazing job by the second baseman. The ball was in his glove about 1/10 of a second.
And for catcher, JR gets down the line pretty well, but well done here as Palanco charges. Yeah, good look at Utley unloading there, avoiding contact and still being able to get enough on the throw to finish the job. And he's not able to step into that throw. He's bailing to avoid contact.
Now it's Tommy Manzella with a runner at third and 2 outs. He's 2 for 2. Ball 1 to Manzella. Corey Sullivan is on deck. The pitcher's spot is due up, and Sampson is warming up in the bullpen. Tampa Bay polished off the Yankees 9-3. David Price was the winner over Javier Vasquez. Carlos Pena went deep, as did Willie Ibar. Ground ball, backhanded. Palanco with a long throw to Howard in time to end the 6th inning. The inning started with an error, but then wound up with a couple of spectacular plays. And after 6, it's 7-0 Phillies. by Whataburger, and by Sony Pictures, Death at a Funeral. That's a nice scene from across the downtown area. And it is 7-0 Phillies as the Phillies come up in the 7th inning here at Minute Maid Park with the catcher Carlos Ruiz, 0 for 3, leading it off. There's strike one for Ruiz. Brian Moeller's opening his 3rd inning of relief. Norris the starter, then Wilton Lopez worked an inning and a 3rd. Line past a lunging Manzella on through into center field. Moeller due to lead off the bottom of the inning, so the Astros are hoping he can go a scoreless 7th here, and then they'll pinch hit.
Ruiz joins the hit parade now. It's everybody but Victorino.
Now the pitcher Herndon comes up for the first time in the major leagues. Phillies is in tight at 3rd. Jimmy Rollins on deck. And there's ball 1 from Moeller to Herndon. Detroit is 3-1 after polishing off Cleveland 5-2. Rick Porcello got a win. Jose Valverde with his first save as a Tiger. Travis Hafner went deep for the Tribe. His first home run. Valverde got a blown save and a loss the other day. And Toronto got 2 in the 9th inning and down Baltimore 7-6. Mike Gonzalez took another loss. He's had a tough start to the season. Miguel Tejada hit home run number 1. Back with the Orioles. Herndon swings and misses at that one, and he'll walk back to the dugout. Strikeout victim number 1 for Brian Moeller. Jimmy Rollins has 2 hits and a walk. He has scored 2 runs. There's the way it has shaken out for Rollins, Palanco, and Utley tonight. Big trouble for Astros pitching there.
Top of the order, middle of the order. They've inflicted a lot of damage.
There's strike 1. There have been some high scoring games early in the season. People have suggested on some of the TV shows that it's warmer in a lot of the cities this year than normal. Maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe it doesn't.
I think it has to have a little bit to do with it. Because typically in the northern cities this time of year it's really cold, and that usually keeps the runs down.
Chicago's been kind of chilly, hasn't it?
Well, you know, I think there's some cold weather moving in now for sure.
Okay. So we better pack warmly for next weekend. 2 balls and 1 strike to Jimmy Rollins. And he fouls it 2-2. Micah Owings got the win for the Reds. They down Chicago 5-4 with a 4-run 8th. Francisco Cordero got his first save. I don't know if he pinch hit or not, but there was a little note in the newspaper about Owings. He said, well, if they want me to pinch hit and then stay in the pitch, it's fine. I'll just need a little bit of time to warm up, to pitch. And didn't Brooks Kieschnick do that several times?
Yeah.
Three balls, 2 strikes. There's a switch pitcher in the Yankees minor league system now. And he got to pitch in some spring training games. Joe Girardi got to see him. Found out what the rules are regarding which hand he has to declare he's going to pitch with and then follow through on, and when he has to make that decision. Apparently, it could be a mockery if a switch hitter came up And it was a switch pitcher on the mound. They kept changing on every pitch. But that's not going to be allowed to happen.
What's the rule, do you know?
He said the rule is that when the hitter comes up and gets in the box, the pitcher has to have his glove on whatever hand he's determined he's going to pitch with the opposite hand. And then he has to continue to pitch that way.
As long as that hitter stays in the...
Yeah. Throughout the entire at-bat. Then it can change after the hitter changes. Big ball 4 to Rollins. He's on for the 4th time. Now, Greg Harris did that for Montreal, right?
Yeah. But not with any regularity. I think he had the ability to throw pretty well with both arms. I think he's naturally right-handed, but he could throw pretty well with left. With his left hand, he had a special mitt made that he put on either hand.
Apparently that's what this Yankee pitcher has, too.
And then, he did it in at least one game. I don't know if he did it more than that.
Not sure. Palanco is 3 for 4. Phil Boudreau's going to check for us. I don't know how he would look that up.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure you just Google Greg Harris throwing with both arms, and all of a sudden, boom, you get all kinds of stories.
Isn't that amazing? There's strike 1 to Palanco. We used to have to go around the ballpark and ask 50 different people and try to get the answer to that.
Anybody ever seen this Greg Harris guy throw with both hands?
Finally get the most knowledgeable person you thought you could find and go with whatever he told you.
The Chico Outlaws of the Golden Baseball League, an independent league, have signed a female knuckleball pitcher from Japan, Mary Yoshida. She's 18 years of age. Pitched in the Arizona Winter League.
Greg Harris threw 1 scoreless inning for the Expos in 1995. He's been the only other pitcher in the last century to switch pitching. That was quick. I think Yoshida's going to take hold in that league and dominate with that knuckleball. What's the scouting report?
She's a sidearm knuckleballer.
Sidearm knuckleball.
Yeah.
That's a little bit different twist, so to speak. We had that note the other day, I think you mentioned it, that when the Astros got Joe Niekro from Atlanta, they purchased him for $35,000. What an amazing acquisition that was.
1975? Maybe?
Yes. And he became the first 20-game winner in the history of the club and still the all-time leader. He later won 20 a second time and then became the all-time victory leader with 144. And Roy Oswalt needs 7 more to get to that number himself. That's a fair ball. Pass Phillies, it kicks out, and Carlos Lee barehands, throws into third base as the run scores, safe at third, and on into second, Palanco. It's an RBI single for Palanco. He takes second on the throw into the infield. That's his 4th hit of the night. And his 8th run batted in of the season.
Rivals the game Edgar Renteria had here the other day when he had 5 knocks.
$27,288 to paid attendance tonight. And Brad Arnsberg goes to the mound with runners at second and third and 1 out.
Not the way you wanted to play your first Friday night at home here this year. Something like this.
No, this is not fun. 8 runs on 15 hits for the Phillies.
You know, the 1969 Astros started 4-20 and then rallied to finish just 5.5 games out of first place.
That's true. You know what happened when they were 4-20? I'm almost certain this is true.
Blackbirds sang in a pie.
No? Don Wilson pitched a no-hitter.
That kind of got things pointed in the right direction.
It certainly did. Chase Utley has a homer and an RBI single to go with a walk. And the night before, Jim Maloney had no-hit the Astros in Cincinnati. 1 hopper to Manziel. Throws to third. Well, they got him. They got Rollins. trying to get back to third base. So Utley bounces into a 6-5 play at third base for out number 2.
No hesitation by Tommy Manziel as Rollins drifts off the bag. Tries a little sleight of hand to get back in there ahead of the tag, but Phillies able to get him.
I was surprised he threw to third base.
Yeah, that's a play. Ain't nothing ball game. You think, well, just get him out. But I think what happened was his instincts kicked in. He saw the runner drifting down the line a little bit. And what the heck? I'll save my pitcher and Ernie.
He did that. It looked like Rollins' hand came off the base after he initially was safe. Howard the batter now. A pair of doubles for Ryan. And it's ball 1. Moeller's thrown 53 pitches. This is why it was well advised to stretch him out, so to speak, in spring training. This one to center field, Michael Bourne for the third out. And it's a run on 2 hits, couple of men left on base, 8-0 Phillies. Over the last 4 seasons, that's updated through tonight with Ryan Howard at 579. Well ahead of Albert Pujols, Alex Rodriguez, Justin Morneau, and Miguel Cabrera. That's surprising. And the Astros have Corey Sullivan pinch hitting here for Brian Moeller in the bottom half of inning number 7, trailing 8-0. Sullivan came up with the 2-run pinch triple off the glove of Aaron Rowan in that game Wednesday afternoon. That ball a long way, and Rowan appeared to be in a good position to catch it, but did not secure it. Sullivan smacks this from the center field, backing up Victorino. 1 out.
Looks like he likes to hit the ball to center field.
Michael Bourne will follow. Michael 1 for 3 in this game. Four-game summary shows you what's been happening with the Astros box score in this game. Bourne has a hit. Keppinger with 2. Manzella with 2. And Hunter Pence the other hit, an infield hit. Only 6 hits for the Astros. A strike 1 for Herndon.
2 of those were infield hits, too.
Yeah.
We've hit many balls hard here tonight. Haven't hit many balls hard this year so far.
Well, including The 5 shutout innings for J. Happ tonight. By the way, gave up 6 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. Astros have faced starting pitchers who have combined for 24 2/3 innings and allowed 3 earned runs. Line drive over shortstop, and there's the sliding. No, Ibanez did not catch it. A good effort, but Michael Bourne has his 2nd hit of the game.
He's had good at-bats all night long. Ground ball hit pretty well first time up to short, and then a line drive to left. Hit the ball hard last time. Utley made a nice play on him, and now this sinking line drive. Yeah, Ibanez was there, just clanked it.
Yep. Brian Moeller in 3 innings allowed 6 hits, 3 runs. He walked 1 and had a strikeout. Jeff Keppinger has a single and a double in this game. Herndon falls behind him, 1-0. Hunter Pence is on deck. The Astros have been out hit 15-7 by the Phillies. The Phillies have stranded 11 base runners. Strike makes it 1-1. Pittsburgh is out west at Arizona, 2-0 Arizona. Bottom of the 3rd. Charlie Morton is pitching for the Pirates. Garrett Jones off to a nice start for Pittsburgh. 1 ball and 2 strikes. It's Rodrigo Lopez going for the D-backs tonight. It's 1-2 for Keppinger. Some of the folks here tomorrow night will get a rollback on those prices at the ballpark to 1965 prices. And then tomorrow at Minnesota, Jim Cott was mentioning on his broadcast last night, the Twins are bringing him and a couple of other players back to raise the 1965 American League pennant over their new Target Field, as they also have a throwback game to 65 the same day the Astros do it. Liner up the right field line. That's fair. It skips over to foul territory, kicks out to Worth, and he'll hold Keppinger to a single as he gets his 3rd straight hit. It's going to be tough to take him out of the lineup.
No, I think you got to play him against lefties at least for a little while here. Generate some offense. Top of the order is doing a pretty good job here tonight. Michael 2 out of 4. Keppinger now 3 for 4. Unique stroke. Keeps those hands low. Almost looks like a tennis 2-hand, kind of a forehand.
Yeah. Bourne stretches it out, goes 1st to 3rd. And with 1 out, the runners are on the corners for Hunter Pence. Hunter Pence 1 for 3 in this game. There's a tennis player named Frew McMillan who hit 2-handed forehands and backhands, both.
Frew
McMillan.
F-R-U?
F-R-E-W. I think he was from New Zealand. Two balls and no strikes to Hunter. He's a .354 career hitter against the Phils. Hunter had his usual outstanding spring training. He was 0 for 12 to start the season before he got that infield hit in the 1st inning tonight. 2-1 with Carlos Lee on deck. It's Boston 3, Kansas City 2, bottom of the 8th inning at Kansas City. Rick Ankiel hit his first home run as a Royal. Billy Butler hit number 1.
Keep an eye on him, Brownie.
Yeah. Picking a good year.
I just remember when we saw him last year in interleague play, really liking his.
He is. You're right. was kind of a hanger.
Yeah, that's a kind of helicopter or cement mixer slider that works for you, even though you don't try to throw it there.
It looked like it was high enough, and that might have been why it worked. It was higher than the normal hanger that gets you in trouble. 3-2. Now, Jim Cott was saying that a disproportionate number of homers are hit on off-speed pitches rather than fastballs.
I would agree with that, yeah.
Okay.
Hanging breaking balls, hanging change-ups.
Right. Well, he should know. Now back. Still a full count for 100 pins.
Especially when we talked about those numbers earlier, when we had those percentages up on Happ showing that he throws 68% fastballs or whatever it is, so a large majority of pitches are fastballs. But then, yeah, a lot of damage gets done on hanging breaking balls.
Dennis Baez is warming up for the Phillies. Hunter just kind of flicked at that one with a late cut. He's choking up a little bit more this year than he was.
I think with 2 strikes he is. I noticed that the other day because he was choking up a little bit more. Struggling. I think he's just trying to get some bat control.
Only game number 4 of the season. The teams are out there and they do get magnified, and players get asked about things repeatedly when they haven't won a game and they're not hitting. It can lead to some defensive thinking. Herndon gets a strikeout.
Yeah, and then the quality of that bat stuff where you start to press a little bit and try to hit a 6-run home run, just Lance not in the lineup. A lot of negative stuff swirling around about the performance of the middle of the order. I understand why Hunter's starting to press. And that's one thing he did a real nice job of last year early on. Showed much better plate discipline first couple of months of last season than he ever had before. Drew a fair number of walks.
Strike to Carlos Lee. He's 0 for 2 with a walk. Chris Young of Arizona, the Houston youngster, hit his second home run. 1 ball, 1 strike. Here's a piece of useless trivia for you. Chris Young of the Diamondbacks is 0 for 16 lifetime against Chris Young of the Padres.
That's not useless. That's brilliant. That's the kind of stuff we live for.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Baseball has more numbers. The numbers are there for every sport, but there's more trivia about baseball than any other sport.
Numbers and names. So Chris Young owns Chris Young.
Yeah. But, down through the years, people have their favorite stats and their favorite players, and they can play the nickname game, the statistic game, any number of ways to look at it.
Yes. Oh, okay. Got a little something to go with it.
He's been rehearsing at home.
Fire in the hole.
That one low bridge Michael Bourne. He was down on a knee. Still a 1 ball, 2 strike count. Oh my goodness. That damage that could have rocked.
Would have ruined your Saturday night. Friday night. Whatever this is.
It's 2-2.
That's pretty impressive pitch right there. Talking earlier about how tough it can be for a pitcher to throw that glove side fastball, especially a sinker ball. Sinker ball about 96 just off the outside corner.
Now 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. The runner at first, Keppinger, will take off. Herndon's thrown 35 pitches. Dodgers down Florida 7-3. Hiroki Kuroda, the winner over Chris Volstad. And Lee swings at what would have been ball 4. Foul tips it for the strikeout to end the 7th. No runs, a couple of hits, 2 men stranded through 7. The Phillies lead it 8-0.
And All You Can Eat is back now and available for every home game. Get a mezzanine ticket and All You Can Eat ballpark favorites for only $25. This offer is also available as a convenient 6-game flex plan and is great for groups. To buy tickets, visit Astros.com tonight, guys.
Thank you, Patty. That sounds absolutely scrumptious and in large supply. Chris Sampson is in. He's pitcher number 4 for the Astros. The 8th inning opens with the score 8-0 Phillies, and Jason Worth in the box. He's 2 for 4. He takes strike 1 from Chris, and Corey Sullivan stays in after pinch hitting for Brian Moeller to play left field. Carlos Lee comes out of the game. Sampson is in the number 4 spot in the lineup. And he catches the outside edge with strike 2. Chris already making his 3rd appearance of the young season. Upstairs for a 1-2 count. Texas down Seattle 6-2 at Arlington. Colby Lewis notched that win with home run number 3 of the year from Nelson Cruz. Manzella gets a play at short. 1 down. Manzella made that double play in very good fashion in the 6th inning on Ibanez. Raul coming up now with 3 runs batted in this game on a pair of doubles. He also has drawn a walk. Mike Pelfrey and the Mets down Washington 8-2. That's ball 1.
Michael Jordan made his baseball debut on this date in baseball history.
Smashed through the middle. Let's see, was he at Birmingham?
He was.
And
I remember Terry Francona, I think, was his manager.
Oh, okay. That sounds right, yeah.
1994.
Here's the question for you. If he never really played baseball that much when he was a youngster, right? If he had, do you think he would have been a good major league player?
I don't know. such a good athlete, he might have learned to hit a little bit. He must have played some, though, right? Because there was some passion to play or some something burning.
Oh, what a slick play by Keppinger on to Manzella for a double play. Good backhand pickup for a 4-6-3 double play. Second of the night for the Astros. Bottom of the 8th is coming. It's 8-0 Phillies. Three coming in from the Phillies bullpen as they get all wrapped up. Dennis Baez, 32-year-old veteran from Cuba. He's been in 2 games, 2/3 of an inning with an ERA of 13.50. But last year with Baltimore, his ERA was 4.02.
Yeah, he won 4 games, lost 6, worked 59 times for the Birds last season. Didn't strike out many, 40 strikeouts in 71 2/3 innings. He was a pretty good strikeout pitcher back in the day. He's had some injuries, missed all of 2008.
Herndon went 2 innings, he allowed 2 hits, no runs, with no walks, 2 strikeouts. Up and into Pedro Feliz, ball 1. Feliz is 0 for 3. Phillies added Nelson Figueroa to their bullpen, claiming him off waivers from the Mets. 1 ball, 1 strike. There's a Bagwell shirt. We'll have Bagwell in the booth tomorrow night. 2 balls, 1 strike. Interesting to get you and Baggy going on the hitter and pitcher perspective of things.
Yeah, I look forward to our Saturday night visits with Baggy.
Palanco goes out Feliz, 1 down.
Jeff, one thing when he was playing, I always took note. A very thoughtful guy. You know, he never dealing with the media and stuff. When he was asked a question, he always it wasn't the stock cliched answer. He always had something good to say.
Yeah, that's true. Very insightful. Dennis Baez in his 9th season, 35-49, 114 saves for Baez, who came up with Cleveland. Here's strike 1.
Well, pitched for the Cuban national team, defected in 1999 while they were in a tournament in Costa Rica.
He's been with Tampa Bay. Roller by Blum goes to 3rd. Palanco turns it into the 2nd out. And other clubs for Baez.
Well, an early season challenge for Brad Mills here. You know, you come out of spring training and everybody's optimistic and enthusiastic. and then you lose your first 4. You've got nothing going offensively. The pitching has been spotty at times. So his reputation is he's an energetic guy. He's a positive guy, and that's what this club needs right now. They got to keep their heads on straight and not dwell on all the negative.
Tolles 0 for 3 tonight. And it's 0-2 to JR with Manzella on deck. That's a challenge right out of the chute for Brad Mills. Tolles started the bat moving. The appeal went to first base umpire Mike Everett for the call. It's 1-2 as he checked his swing. The Astros have been outscored to this point 26-6 by their opponents. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes. St. Louis is batting in the top of the 9th, trailing Milwaukee 4-3. Trevor Hoffman on the mound. Lined up the right field line, but foul. Hoffman, one of his quotes in the paper was about that countdown to 600 saves they have on the, I believe it's on the outfield wall in Milwaukee. That's kind of irritating to him because he doesn't want so much focus on him, but that's a huge number.
So they're going to take it down?
Good question. You might have to go out there and rip it down if things don't go well. 3-2. Minnesota and the White Sox tied 3-3 after 9.
Trevor just gave it up.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. Cardinals just went ahead. Stavanoa hit a home run off him.
He might rip it down himself then. Rick Stavanoa from Jersey Village High School going deep on that one.
Oh, that's right. He's a local guy.
And the Astros will be in St. Louis for their home opener on Monday afternoon. Three and 2 to Tolles. Center fielder Victorino over in right center. And JR chased one and struck out. That ends the 8th inning with the Phillies up 8-0. Jeff Fulcino. Jeff will be pitching to the 8, 9, and 1 hitters for the Phils. Ruiz Baez scheduled up second. We see Greg Dobbs down in the on-deck circle. And then Jimmy Rollins due up third against Jeff in his second year with the Astros. This will be his third appearance.
That first one went well. Last one on Wednesday did not go well at all. You look at his numbers from last year. And they're solid, 6-4, 3.40 ERA for 82 innings of work. Good strikeout to walk ratio. Tough to hit. Last time out, though, third of an inning, he allowed 4 hits and 4 runs.
Carlos Ruiz takes strike one. Chris Sampson in 1 inning allowed 1 hit, no runs. He faced only 3 batters with no walks, no strikeouts. Strike for Fulcino, and he's ahead in the count 0-2. Jose Contreras is warming up in the Phillies bullpen. Looks like he was working on that split finger pitch there. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Jeff's dad is in the winemaking business back in Connecticut.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm. I didn't know they had wineries in Connecticut, did you?
Well, I think they're popping up everywhere, Brian.
Okay. No swing. Mike Everett with a ruling. 2-2. Hey, this is a big weekend for the Bluebonnet Festival, JD. In Chapel Hill, Texas. Not too far outside Houston.
Gonna make your way out there?
You already did.
Is that the capital? Is that the place to go for bluebonnets?
I'm not knowledgeable about that, but it's a very nice place for bluebonnets. There are fields with lots of bluebonnets in them. And it's just a good excuse to have a nice weekend and celebrate something. Nature. Nature's at full bloom.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Great spring, isn't it?
Except for the allergy sufferers.
That's not good.
For the rugged.
Yeah, Jeff said his dad is really getting into it. You know that one thing he said his dad does is now he's importing some grapes from Italy and making wine.
So does he have a big indoor facility, or is it a very short season? I mean, what's the whole?
I don't know.
Because grapes normally need kind of a more temperate climate.
He said it's been 88 degrees in Connecticut. So now the growing season has accelerated. Very unusual year so far. Manzella at shortstop. 1 out. Now Greg Dobbs will be the pinch hitter for Dennis Baez. Dobbs is a top-notch pinch hitter. This season he's 0 for 2, but it's a good chance for Charlie Manuel to give him this at-bat off the bench. He'll be going to him in clutch situations this year. .274 career pinch hit average with 6 homers, 48 runs batted in for Dobbs.
Pretty much leans right out over home plate, doesn't he? I mean, check out his stance. He is right on top of the plate.
It does. He made 27 starts last year, 11 in left field, 10 at third, 4 at first, and 2 in right. Nice to have a pinch hitter who can play those multiple positions so a manager can get him at bats in a variety of ways. Give different people a rest. Phillies seem to have all the components for making a strong run at another National League championship. Some people think Atlanta is up to the challenge in the NL East. Chipper Jones went out with another injury.
Yeah. And, the Braves lineup doesn't stack up to the Phillies lineup, but their pitching has a chance to be superior.
Sure does. Now Milwaukee's batting in the bottom of the ninth with Ryan Franklin in the game, and St. Louis leading 5-4. A wild swing there by Dobbs at a pitch down and in. And Tolles throws him out to complete the strikeout. 2 outs. Jimmy Rollins has been on 4 times tonight and 5 trips to the plate.
So have you seen much of this new ballpark in Minnesota?
No.
Seen it on television? Or?
You know, last year when we were there, I walked over and took an advanced look, but it was nowhere close to being finished. But no, I really haven't. How about you?
No, I haven't either, but I've heard good things.
Yeah. They have the usual wide concourses, and people apparently are finding it very enjoyable so far. And it's been warm there, unseasonably warm. That helps for enjoyment. Fly ball over by the line for Corey Sullivan. And in the 9th, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4 Fulcino. The Astros come up in the bottom half, trailing 8-0. Is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers and the 2010 F-150, by the Progressive Insurance Group, and by Southwest Airlines. It's been a gorgeous night in downtown Houston. On the scoreboard, not gorgeous for the Astros. They trail the Phillies 8-0 as they come up in the bottom of the 9th inning. Jose Contreras will try to put together as a 4-pitcher combined shutout. The Phillies have a chance to do, after Dennis Baez had a 1-2-3-8 with a strikeout.
Well, Jose Contreras, the veteran right-hander. He also from Cuba, of course. He defected and signed with the Yankees. Moved on from there to the White Sox. Last year was with the Sox and with the Rockies a little bit.
Tommy Manziel is 2 for 3 in this game. Yeah, Contreras dialed it up against the Astros in the 2005 World Series and got a victory in that 4-game sweep.
Yeah, 15-game winner that year for the Sox.
That was his best year. It's 1-1. There's a tight slider, making it 1-2. And that's what you find typically on a World Series winning team. Some players have career years and never come close to that again. Everything comes together. Strikeout. That's out number 1. That's strikeout number 9 for this Phillies pitching staff. Corey Sullivan entered the game as a pinch hitter the 7th inning. Stayed in to play left field. He'll get a second at bat. And Michael Bourne's on deck. Strike 1 to Sullivan. Call for a swing there by home plate umpire Tim McClellan. Count goes to 0-2 on the fork ball from Contreras. Cincinnati Reds signed Cuban lefty Aroldis Chapman. And now Sullivan is down on strikes for out number 2. It'll be interesting to see how long it takes him to arrive in the big leagues.
They're pretty close this spring to making their club.
Yes, he did.
Now, Contreras, he's been around the block a long time, and there's some debate as to what his real age is. And I expected to see a guy out here kind of hanging on and just trying to sink the ball. Now, he's throwing 95 with nasty movement on his off-speed stuff. I don't know what his staying power will be, but it's pretty good tonight.
He throws out Michael Bourne for the final out of this combined shutout involving 4 Philadelphia pitchers. They collaborate on an 8-hitter, and they beat the Astros 8-0 is our final score. Our next Astros telecast comes tomorrow night. It's the Phillies and Astros, and coverage begins with Astros Live, presented by Ford at 5:30 p.m. Stay tuned next for Astros Live postgame. You've been watching Astros baseball on Fox Sports Houston.